If you like the story, you can support the author on Patreon. Link is in the description.
Chapter 181, 50/50ths Conclusion. In the intimate setting of a hospital chemotherapy room, Adam, Alan, and Mitch are each hooked up to their chemo drips. Adam looks visibly fatigued. The conversation turns to Rachel, Adam's significant other, whom Alan and Mitch have never met. Adam explains her absence by saying hospitals scare her, but his friends are skeptical, highlighting that nobody enjoys hospital visits. Adam defends Rachel, attributing her absence to not wanting to mix negative and positive energies, which Alan dismisses as an excuse. Later, outside the hospital at dusk, Adam waits for Rachel, reassuring Alan and Mitch that she's on her way and they'll meet her another time. The scene shifts to nighttime, with Adam looking drained as he waits on the hospital steps until Rachel arrives, apologizing for her tardiness and her phone dying. Adam's frustration is evident, even offering her an out from the situation, but they leave together, unresolved tensions in the air. As the production rolled on, a pivotal scene unfolded with Kyle on a date with Claire at an art gallery. There, they unexpectedly encounter Rachel. Kyle, quick on his feet, introduces Rachel to Claire as his sick friend's girlfriend. However, Claire's intuition tells her something's off. Rachel doesn't seem to behave like someone's significant other. Their suspicions are confirmed when they witness Rachel flirtatiously engaging with another man, culminating in a deep kiss. In a moment of anger, Kyle discreetly captures this betrayal on his phone, intending to show Adam the truth about Rachel. The set transitioned to a cozy living room scene, where Lucas, embodying Adam, was found dozing off on the couch until the sound of Rachel's entrance stirred him awake. Groggily greeting her with a simple hi, Adam's weariness seemed to melt away at the sight of Rachel. The warmth and revival in his eyes underscored how deeply he cherished her, revealing the profound bond between them. Bryce, portraying Rachel, encountered an emotional challenge in this scene. The guilt of her character's actions was mirrored in her interaction with Adam. Her line, "Didn't mean to wake you," was tinged with remorse, a subtle attempt to veil her inner conflict. Adam's response was tender, filled with longing, "Come here." It was a moment that pulled at the heartstrings. Lucas's portrayal of Adam, filled with authentic affection for Rachel, pushed Bryce to navigate her role with a sense of remorse and complexity. "Oh, I'm so tired. Can we just get into bed?" she said, her voice carrying the weight of unspoken guilt. The emotional depth Lucas brought to Adam, displaying a palpable love for Rachel, sparked whispers among the crew. Some wondered if Lucas's feelings for Bryce, the actress behind Rachel, were real, not knowing that his ability to convey such genuine intimacy was a skill refined in his previous work on Like Crazy. Rachel extends a hand to help Adam up, but their moment is abruptly cut short as Kyle bursts through the front door. "Hey! Surprise! It's Kyle! What's happening, guys?" Adam, caught off guard yet managing a polite response, replies, "Hey, Kyle." His surprise is evident, but he remains welcoming. Kyle, sensing the intimate atmosphere he's stumbled upon, hesitates. "Bad time? Am I interrupting something?" He casts a glance at Adam and Rachel, picking up on the tension. Adam begins to explain, "Well, it's Midney." Kyle, not missing a beat, cuts in, "Sorry, I was in the neighborhood. I had a date with Claire, the bookstore girl. It did not go well, due to a lack of chemistry and I think an overuse of profanity on my part. But, whilst on my date, I ran into Rachel." Adam's response is tinged with confusion, "Okay." It's clear he's puzzled by Kyle's erratic entrance and the revelations following it. Kyle, with a dramatic flourish, pulls out his phone and thrusts it towards Adam, declaring, "I would like to present exhibit, whore." The screen displays a blurry image of Rachel in a compromising embrace with another man at the gallery. Look at it. That's Rachel. And that's a fucking dirty Jesus-looking motherfucker, and they're kissing. I did it." Kyle's triumph turns to indignation as he confronts Rachel, "I fucking nailed you. I've hated you for months. And now I have evidence that you suck as a person." As Kyle scans Adam and Rachel's silent reactions, his energy shifts. "Nothing? You two should probably talk about this." He then retreats to the kitchen, leaving a palpable tension in the air. Rachel faces Adam, who, though silent, communicates volumes. Lucas, as Adam, embodies a heartrending portrayal of betrayal through subtle gestures. His slumped shoulders, averted gaze, and the silent withdrawal convey a profound sense of hurt that resonates deeply, not just on Bryce but also with everyone on set. The raw emotion Lucas injects into Adam's silent reaction is so palpable that the cast and crew can't help but empathize, feeling a twinge of pain for Adam's predicament. Bryce, as Rachel, is caught in the crossfire of emotions. Despite her character's actions, Bryce professionally maintains her role as the flawed girlfriend. Yet, the intensity of Lucas's performance and the charged atmosphere compel her own heart to ache. Adam's voice broke as he asked, his eyes glistening with the effort to hold back tears, "You're cheating on me." The vulnerability and disbelief etched into his features tore at the heart. Rachel, visibly shaken, stumbled over her words, "No. I mean, yes," but she looked into Adam's eyes, searching for a reaction, a cue. Bryce, in character as Rachel, hesitated, expecting Lucas to interject with his lines "really." Instead, Lucas's silence, his body language screaming betrayal and shock, propelled Bryce to continue, "Adam, you have no idea how hard it's been. I don't know how to do this, and it's been so stressful, and you've been so sick, and shit, you're the one who told me Kyle uses your cancer to get girls. Why should I be the bad guy?" From the kitchen, Kyle's voice cut through, unseen but potent, "Because you're his girlfriend, and you cheated on him while he has cancer, you fucking lunatic." Rachel tried to justify, "Adam. We had problems long before you got sick. And then when you got sick, I didn't know what to do." Adam's response was a masterpiece of subdued emotion. Lucas, embodying Adam, sat deflated on the couch, his body slumped in a posture of utter defeat. His eyes, once searching Rachel's for answers, now looked through her, his gaze hollow. "So why are you here? Why do you spend every night in my bed?" His voice was a whisper, the words heavy with humiliation and heartbreak. "I don't know. I didn't want to abandon you," Rachel said, suggesting they postpone the confrontation. "Let's go to bed, we can talk about this tomorrow." Adam, portrayed with Lucas's subtle mastery, remained seated, the epitome of a man shattered, his spirit as bruised as his heart. As Kyle re-entered from the kitchen, his impatience palpable, he demanded, "You got to get out of here. You're making this way too uncomfortable for everyone. Just leave." Rachel's attempt to defer the inevitable, "Adam, we'll talk tomorrow," was met with Kyle's blunt realism, "No you won't. Why would you talk tomorrow?" Rachel's plea, "Adam, I care about you, Adam," clashed with Kyle's moral outrage, "You are reprehensible." Her frustration boiling over, Rachel snapped at Kyle, "Will you shut up?" Attempting to sow distrust, "Kyle doesn't have your best interest in mind." Kyle, undeterred, retorted, "I don't? 'Cause I'm pretty sure I'm not the one who got caught making out with some disgusting hippie." Rachel's exit was as tumultuous as the confrontation, "Fuck you." She spat at Kyle, who fired back, "You're disgusting." The slamming of the door marked Rachel's departure, leaving a palpable void filled with tension, sorrow, and the unresolved pain of betrayal. Seth, embodying Kyle, watched Lucas's portrayal of Adam with an intensity that seemed to surpass the boundaries of mere acting. Lucas sat silently, his acting so nuanced and authentic that it conveyed volumes without a word being spoken. The depth of Adam's despair was palpable in the slump of his shoulders, the hollow look in his eyes, and the slight tremble of his hands, a silent testament to a heart shattered by betrayal. Seth felt an unexpected ache in his own heart, as if Lucas's portrayal had bridged the gap between fiction and reality, making the pain of Adam's situation resonate deeply within him. When the director called cut, the emotional aftermath lingered palpably in the air. Seth approached Lucas, still ensconced on the couch, offering a comforting pat on the back. The entire set was enveloped in a complex mix of emotions, struck by Lucas's deep immersion into his role, which seemed to carry over even after the cameras stopped rolling. Will observed Lucas with a mix of admiration and empathy. The story of Adam, after all, was a reflection of his own life, making the portrayal all the more poignant. Gradually, Lucas began to distance himself from Adam's emotional turmoil, listening attentively as the director outlined the next scene. The narrative then shifted to Adam's bedroom, where the loneliness of Rachel's absence was palpable. The only solace came from Skeletor, Adam's pet, whose presence offered a momentary distraction from the engulfing solitude. As the filming resumed the next morning, the change in Adam was stark. Gone was the humor that had peppered his interactions with Kyle, replaced by a somberness that reflected the depth of his loss. This shift was not just a testament to Lucas's acting prowess but also a narrative arc that resonated deeply with everyone on set. Adam's usual levity, a beacon of hope even in the face of cancer, seemed diminished, casting a shadow over his prognosis. Yet, a glimmer of the old Adam surfaced when he and Kyle encountered an attractive woman walking her dog. Despite the heavy atmosphere, Adam managed to engage in conversation, prompting Kyle to quip, "You could have fucked that girl, you realize that, don't you?" Adam, attempting to lighten the mood, quipped about his appearance, "Oh, please. You think she would have S*X with me? With my appearance, I look like a Voldemort look-alike." Despite managing a joke, it was evident that the usual spark of hope and positivity in his demeanor had been dimmed by the recent breakup. The narrative then shifted to Kyle's well-meaning but misguided efforts to help Adam move on from Rachel by encouraging him to get laid. That night, at the bar, Kyle was at Adam's side, offering guidance and even suggesting Adam use his cancer diagnosis as a means to garner sympathy from women. This strategy, while questionable, led to some genuinely comedic moments, further enhanced by Lucas's acting and timely ad-libs. Adam struck up a conversation with Jackie, portrayed by Jessica. The interaction was light-hearted, with Adam managing to make Jackie laugh, prompting Kyle to interject, "He still has a sense of humor. It's inspirational." Curious, Jackie inquired about touching Adam's head, leading to a playful exchange and Kyle encouraging her, "You can do more than touch it." This led to a humorous moment with Jackie and her friends rubbing Adam's head, while Kyle quipped, "You know, it'll grow back if you rub it enough." However, the night took a turn when Adam, despite his exhaustion, was convinced by Kyle not to sleep, ultimately leading Jackie to his bedroom. The scene shifted to a more intimate setting, with Jackie on top, but Adam's discomfort was palpable. Each movement caused him pain, visible in his wincing expressions. When Jackie noticed and questioned if she was hurting him, Adam initially denied it. However, upon further insistence from Jackie, Adam's facade crumbled, leading to an awkward moment as Jackie rolled off him. They lay next to each other, enveloped in a silence that spoke volumes about the complexity of navigating personal connections amidst personal struggles. Despite Adam's brief encounter with Jackie, it was clear he hadn't moved on from Rachel. The production filming then shifts to a more subdued scene where Adam, post-chemo, is seen waiting at a bus stop. Catherine, a young doctor who knows him, spots him and offers a ride, which Adam initially declines. However, Catherine insists, highlighting her concern and the budding connection between them. In the car, their conversation flows naturally until Adam mentions his recent breakup with Rachel. Catherine, taken aback, inquires, "What? When did this happen?" "A few days ago. She kind of cheated on me," Adam reveals, masking his hurt with a faint attempt at nonchalance. Noticing Adam's effort to hide his pain, Catherine gently offers an ear, "Oh. Adam. Do you want to talk about it?" Adam, however, firmly sets boundaries, "No. Nuh-uh. No therapy. You are giving me this ride as a friend." This moment underlines Adam's desire for normalcy and friendship over patient-therapist dynamics. The conversation then shifts to Catherine's personal life, highlighting the delicate balance in their relationship. "I just don't think it's appropriate for me to be telling you all this personal stuff. The whole therapist/patient relationship doesn't work if you know all my problems." Her candid admission about checking her ex's Facebook page adds a layer of relatability and vulnerability to her character. Upon reaching Adam's house, Catherine unexpectedly offers her number, leading to a light-hearted exchange. Adam's quip, "Did I just score your digits?" is met with a smile and a clear boundary from Catherine, "No." Adam quickly clarifies, "That was a joke," to which Catherine responds, "That's fine. Jokes make for a good coping mechanism, this is only for emergencies. Or if you need someone to talk to, good night." Their interaction ends on a note of mutual respect and understanding, with Adam appreciating the gesture, "Good night." The production moved forward, capturing a laid-back moment in Adam's living room during the day. Adam and Kyle are relaxed, sharing a mini bong bubbler and getting absorbed in planet Earth on a brand new 50 flat-screen TV. Skeletor, Adam's pet, is dozing off on the floor nearby. Kyle, awed by the visuals, comments on the sheer craziness of the ocean, contrasting it with the desert, while Adam expresses his fondness for the trees. Their tranquility is briefly interrupted by a knock at the door, but they're too engrossed in the show to bother answering. Rachel then cautiously makes her entrance, eyeing Adam as he quickly dons his hat to cover his bald head. She's there to collect her belongings, which Adam coolly mentions he's already boxed up and placed outside. The moment grows tense when Rachel spots them smoking weed and inquires since when Adam started. The exchange reveals it's medicinal, prescribed not for Adam but for Kyle, supposedly to treat his night blindness. Rachel's attention shifts to the new TV, which has taken the place of her painting, now relegated to a corner. The loss is tangible in her disappointed remark about her painting being taken down, prompting her to ask Adam for a private conversation outside. On the porch, amidst an awkward atmosphere, Rachel expresses her regret over their breakup and attempts to reignite their relationship with a kiss. Adam, conflicted but firm, ultimately asks Rachel to leave, marking a poignant end to their encounter. As she departs, visibly upset, Adam points out her forgotten painting, to which she responds, "I made it for you," underscoring the depth of their now fractured connection. After the tumultuous attempt by Rachel to rekindle their relationship, Adam finds solace and strength to move on from their breakup through the support of his friend Kyle and his family. His burgeoning friendship with Catherine also offers him a new perspective and comfort during this time. As the filming draws near its emotional climax, Adam prepares for surgery. Diane, in a tender moment, kisses Adam on the cheek, a silent gesture of love and fear. Dr. Lee gives a nod to a couple of nurses, who then pull Adam's gurney through the double doors, enveloping him in the stark, fluorescent light of the operating room. The scene shifts to a highly clinical setting where Adam, now unconscious, is the focal point. The camera closes in on his serene face as hands reach out, gently transferring him to the operating table, signaling the beginning of the surgery. The sterile beeps of the heart monitor and the distant sound of Adam's breathing fill the room, initiating a palpable tension that extends beyond the operating theater. Meanwhile, Catherine is seen in her office, ostensibly engaged with a patient. Despite her professional demeanor, her distraction is evident, her thoughts linger with Adam, underscoring the depth of their connection. In the waiting room, Diane and Richard grapple with the weight of the moment. Diane, holding onto a handful of pills, a physical manifestation of her anxiety, is a picture of fear. When Richard takes the pills from her, their shared look conveys volumes about their shared apprehension. Diane voices the concern hanging heavy in the air, "It's been 5 hours. The passage of time feels unbearable, each minute stretching longer than the last." Kyle, ever the supportive presence, acknowledges the lengthening hours with a heavy heart but tries to infuse the room with a semblance of hope. "Has it?" Diane's worry escalates, "Something's wrong. We should have heard by now." Her fear reflects the uncertainty that comes with waiting for news from the operating room. Kyle, attempting to be the pillar of strength in a sea of uncertainty, reassures her, "Don't worry. Adam's going to be fine, okay?" His words are meant as much for himself as for Diane. Upon hearing Adam's name, Catherine leans in towards Kyle, Richard, and Diane with a mix of concern and curiosity. "Adam Lerner?" she inquires, seeking confirmation. Kyle, momentarily caught off guard, responds affirmatively, "Yet." Catherine, trying to offer some reassurance, mentions, "Dr. Walderson is one of the best surgeons in the country, so he's in good hands." Diane, unfamiliar with Catherine, asks, "Who are you?" Catherine introduces herself, I'm Catherine." Recognizing her, Kyle quickly adds, "The therapist. I'm Kyle, Adam's friend." They exchange a handshake as Kyle introduces her to Adam's parents, signaling a moment of solidarity among those connected to Adam. "It's nice to meet you," Catherine says, her smile a bit awkward under the circumstances. A brief silence follows. Kyle, looking for some validation, half-jokingly asks, "Did he say I was a? 'Cause I'm not." Diane, expressing her own insecurities, shares with Catherine, "I want you to know, I smothered him because I love him." Catherine responds with a polite smile, embodying the discretion expected of her profession. Kyle, still seeking inside information, probes further, seriously, "Did he say anything?" Catherine maintains her professional boundaries, I can't, I wouldn't talk about that sort of thing." Their attention shifts as Dr. Walderson approaches, prompting everyone to stand in anticipation of news. The doctor explains, "Mr. and Mrs. Lerner. So as you can imagine, with a surgery of this magnitude, there were some unforeseen complications. The bone erosion was much greater than initially anticipated. We had to remove part of the hip and pelvis, as well as most of the right psoas muscle. We also had to remove a good amount of sheath tissue around the sciatic nerve. It's not going to be an easy road back, but he's going to be okay," Dr. Walderson concludes, offering a beacon of hope amid the storm of concerns. "He's going to be okay." Diane echoes, her voice laden with worry yet clinging to the doctor's assurance. Dr. Walderson's affirmation brings a moment of relief amidst the tension. Kyle, with a mix of relief and mild frustration, suggests, you should start with that information. That should be the first thing you say. In a spontaneous show of relief and joy, Kyle turns to hug Diane, exclaiming, "He's okay." Their embrace encapsulates the wave of emotions washing over them, and soon, Richard is pulled into this circle of relief and gratitude. "Thank you, Doctor, thank you." Diane expressed her gratitude through tears, a sentiment echoed by Kyle. The intensity of their emotions was palpable, a raw moment of human connection that Catherine observed from a distance, respectfully retreating to allow the family their privacy. Back in his hospital room, Adam, still groggy from surgery, reacted with childlike joy upon seeing his parents. "Mommy!" he exclaimed, a moment that was both tender and heart-wrenching, as Diane responded with tears, "My little boy." The humorous and light-hearted interactions with Kyle that follow showcase Adam's resilience and the support system that surrounds him, laying the groundwork for his recovery journey. As filming neared its end, there were touching moments, including Catherine's visit to see Adam. Lucas and Catherine shared a light, friendly conversation before she took her leave. Following that, the shoot progressed, with Kyle dropping by to visit Adam in the evening. Their attempt to cheer each other up evolved into a session of light-hearted, humorous banter. As the filming neared its conclusion, Catherine made an unexpected appearance, bringing pizza along. The trio of Adam, Kyle, and Rachel engaged in casual conversation as the filming wrapped up. "And cut," Jonathan announced, prompting the crew to cease filming while Seth assisted Lucas out of the bed. The entire cast and crew erupted into applause, celebrating not only the completion of the film but also Lucas's remarkable performance. Overwhelmed with emotion, Lucas mingled with his colleagues, appreciating the moment. While engaging in casual conversation, Lucas caught sight of Neil, his manager, signaling to him. "Hey, Neil. What's going on?" Lucas inquired, noticing his approach. "Well, as your manager, I figured I should be here for your big moments. But, I didn't realize today marked the end of filming for 50/50, Neil replied with a light laugh. "Also, auditions for the Hunger Games started last week. I've already lined up your audition." Neil continued, but then, noticing Lucas's pallid appearance, expressed concern, "Are you okay? Did the shoot treat you well?" "I'm good," Lucas assured with a smile. "I just got a bit too absorbed in my role, that's all. It took a slight toll on my health." Neil, still worried, advised, "Make sure to take care of yourself. There's no rush, the audition can wait if you need more time to recover." Acknowledging Neil's advice, Lucas turned back to engage with the 50/50th's team, knowing that soon, it would be time to say goodbye. Chapter 182, Startup Direction. When Lucas returned to the USA, specifically to New York, his friends were in for a shock the moment he walked into Liza's restaurant. Their expressions turned to disbelief as they saw Lucas now noticeably slimmer and bald. After welcoming Lucas with open arms and a spread of delicious meals, Liza couldn't hold back her astonishment. "What in the world happened to you while you were away for months?" she exclaimed. Leo, sitting nearby, observed Lucas tucking into the food on the table, equally taken aback by his transformation. Lucas chuckled before explaining, "I got involved in a film project about cancer. I might have gotten a bit too immersed in the role, and well, this is the result," he said, gesturing to his appearance. "Cancer, you say? I'd love to hear more about that," Liza replied, her curiosity piqued by the subject of the film. Shaking his head, Lucas responded, "I wish I could share, but the film hasn't been released yet, and I'm not allowed to reveal any details about it." "That's a shame. I was really interested," Liza replied with a hint of disappointment. However, her spirits lifted as she added, "But when your movie does come out, I'll be sure to watch it with everyone else." Lucas smiled, knowing full well that by everyone else, Liza meant their circle of friends from Bellevue Hospital. "Now, Lucas, given your newfound fame, have you found yourself mingling with any stunning beauties?" Leo asked, a playful curiosity lighting up his face. Lucas was just about to respond when Liza cut in, "Leonard, what kind of question is that? Are you trying to make Lucas uncomfortable? Watch it, or I might just have to cut your salary in half." Leo gave a sheepish smile, quickly backtracking, "Forget I mentioned anything, Lucas. No, it's fine. Honestly, contrary to what you might think, I haven't been catching the eye of any beauties," Lucas confessed, addressing Leo's inquiry directly. "Really? I can't believe that." Leo laughed, shaking his head in disbelief as he bantered with Lucas. Liza, overhearing the exchange, let out a sigh of relief at Lucas's response. Lucas exchanged light banter with Leo and spent some time chatting with Liza before saying his goodbyes. As Liza escorted Lucas to the exit of the restaurant, Lucas couldn't help but smile. Despite being away for months and gaining a bit of fame, the easy rapport with his friends remained intact, bringing him a sense of comfort and joy. In Vincent's office at the IAA, Vincent stared at the transformed Lucas in disbelief. Neil wasn't kidding. You really do look completely different. Are you sure you're okay? Lucas chuckled reassuringly, I'll be fine. I just need a bit of rest, that's all. Well, you'll have plenty of time to rest up. The auditions for the Hunger Games aren't going anywhere soon, since the production is set to officially start in March. A few months back, in July 2010, Lucas and Vincent had embarked on an entrepreneurial journey, laying the groundwork for a startup they believed could revolutionize the way people thought about transportation. Drawing from his unique insights from a previous life where this concept had transformed urban mobility, Lucas introduced the idea of Uber to Vincent. In this world, the innovative model of ride-sharing and the convenience of summoning a ride with just a tap on a smartphone didn't exist yet. Lucas had sketched out the fundamentals of the Uber business model, a platform that would connect riders with drivers through an app, offering a seamless, cashless, and efficient transportation solution. He envisioned a service that could offer more than just convenience. It would provide opportunities for drivers to earn a flexible income and for cities to reduce traffic congestion and pollution. Before his busy schedule, Lucas had entrusted Vincent with the task of nurturing and developing this nascent idea into a viable business. Together, they had worked on initial planning, securing the necessary technology infrastructure, and identifying potential investors who could see the promise in their groundbreaking concept. Lucas's departure for his acting project left Vincent at the helm of turning their shared vision into reality. Vincent paused for a moment, reflecting on the progress of their ambitious venture before responding to Lucas. Honestly, Lucas, balancing the responsibilities at the agency with our startup has been quite the challenge, Vincent admitted, his tone mixed with a hint of regret. I've been swamped here, and that's slowed things down more than I'd like to admit. He leaned back in his chair, continuing, as for the app development, we've made some initial strides. We've got a basic prototype up and running, but it's still a long way from the polished, user-friendly platform we envisioned. Finding the right tech team has been a bit of a hurdle, too. Without someone to steer the ship on a day-to-day basis, especially someone with your vision and understanding of the Uber model, progress has been slower than expected. Vincent let out a heavy sigh, running his fingers through his hair in a gesture of frustration mixed with determination. I truly believe in what Uber could become and the incredible impact it might have. But it's clear to me now that for it to truly take off, we need to double down on our focus. It might be time to bring in someone with the dedication and expertise to drive Uber forward, a CEO or, at the very least, a project manager who can devote their full attention to nurturing its growth. He looked at Lucas, his face edged with seriousness. This concept has the power to revolutionize how we think about transportation. I just wish I had the ability to be in two places at once, to give Uber the dedication it needs while handling my responsibilities here. Lucas listened intently, absorbing the gravity of the situation before responding, so, it seems we're on the lookout for a strong project manager who could potentially step up as CEO. Vincent nodded in agreement. Exactly. And given that we already hold significant stakes in the company, our focus isn't solely on controlling it. As long as it moves in the direction we envision and continues to grow, our investment will pay off. Lucas nodded, understanding the strategy at play. Vincent continued, with investors already on board, Uber isn't just ours anymore. But that's a good thing. Our major investors will surely have a say in selecting the right person to lead, which could significantly help in positioning the company for success. Lucas nodded once more, signaling his agreement. Vincent's expression brightened a bit. I've been wanting to discuss this with you, waiting for your return. And now that you're on board with the idea, I'll start reaching out to our investors. Who knows? Perhaps among them, we'll find our future CEO. Chapter 183, Audition Venue for Hunger Games. In New York, even though Lucas's fame was skyrocketing due to his role in Inception, he seemed to fly under the radar, unnoticed by passers-by. This anonymity could likely be attributed to his drastic change in appearance, a stark contrast to the Lucas seen in Inception back then. He sported his natural hair and a fit, healthy look. Now, with his head shaved and his frame noticeably leaner, Lucas didn't quite match the image people had seen on the big screen. Neil, his manager, was right by his side, not just guiding him in career decisions but also in matters of health. Neil provided medical advice to help Lucas regain his former physique and overall health. They followed professional recommendations closely, especially regarding the care and treatment to encourage the natural regrowth of Lucas's blonde hair. About a week ago, Lucas's recovery seemed to be on the fast track back to his former self. It's likely that the after effects of the mind workshop, the intense method acting workshop he participated in that affected both his physical and mental health, are finally wearing off. This is particularly notable considering the demanding role of Adam in 50/50, where he portrayed a character undergoing chemotherapy. Even Neil, who has been closely monitoring Lucas's progress, was taken aback by the speed of his recovery. Despite relying on expert medical advice and Neil's support, Lucas's swift return to health has been nothing short of remarkable. Though it's clear he still has some way to go before he's completely back to his peak health, the visible return of his muscle tone and overall vitality has been an encouraging sign of his resilience and determination. Lucas's hair, too, was making a comeback, growing slightly faster than what one might expect in just a week's time. Neil observed Lucas with a mix of astonishment and curiosity. It's really quite surprising. How is it that you're getting back into shape so quickly? Lucas responded with a chuckle, well, maybe those professional recommendations were more effective than we thought. Perhaps. Neil agreed, though he remained skeptical. He couldn't think of any other explanation for such rapid progress. Lucas offered a smile, but internally, he was just as puzzled by his swift recovery. However, he wondered if it might be linked to his unique ability, the mind workshop. Considering this ability had previously impacted his physical and mental health negatively while immersing himself in roles, it wasn't too far-fetched to think it might also have positive effects. This realization led Lucas to acknowledge that there was still much to uncover and understand about his extraordinary mind workshop. Neil finally decided to bring up the topic of the Hunger Games audition with Lucas, noting that Lucas was steadily regaining his previous form. Although Lucas hadn't fully returned to his peak condition just yet, with the Hunger Games production slated to start in March 2011, Neil was confident that Lucas would be back to his healthy self, complete with his natural hair, in time for the filming. Seeing your progress, I think it's the perfect time to start preparing for the Hunger Games audition, Neil told Lucas. You've been making incredible strides, and by the time production kicks off, I have no doubt you'll be in top form. The auditions have been running for 2 weeks now, and I've heard they're wrapping up in February 2011, Neil mentioned, taking a moment to let the information sink in. There's no rush for you to audition right this second, but getting in sooner rather than later gives us a better shot. The earlier you audition, the more opportunities you'll have to showcase your talents and really make an impression on the production team. Lucas understood and asked, so, we're heading to Santa Monica, California, then? His question was genuine, given that the audition venues for the Hunger Games were set up by Lionsgate, which has its headquarters in Santa Monica. I've actually booked our flights already. Tomorrow, we're off to California for your audition, Neil shared, outlining the plan with a sense of purpose. After a brief pause, his curiosity got the better of him, and he shifted the conversation. By the way, Vincent mentioned something about a startup company you two are working on. The topic piqued Neil's interest, steering the discussion towards Lucas's entrepreneurial venture. Lucas took a moment to explain the concept behind the startup he and Vincent were developing. After hearing about the innovative business idea, Neil's interest was clearly piqued, hinting at his potential interest in investing. You should get in touch with Vincent, he's the one spearheading it, Lucas suggested, open to the idea of Neil getting involved. Neil nodded in agreement, already considering the possibilities. As time flew by, the very next day found Lucas and Neil at the airport early in the morning, eagerly awaiting their flight to Santa Monica, California. After a brief period of waiting, their flight was announced ready for boarding. They made their way onto the airplane, settling in for the journey ahead. The plane soared into the sky, embarking on the journey towards their destination. Upon landing at the Santa Monica airport, Lucas and Neil collected their belongings and made their way to the venue where Lionsgate was holding the Hunger Games auditions. As Lucas and Neil approached the audition venue, Lucas found himself curious about whether he'd bump into Jennifer Lawrence, someone he knew, amidst the auditions. Upon arriving at their destination, Neil confidently approached the receptionist to check in. He smoothly handled the necessary arrangements, securing their entry into the venue where the Hunger Games auditions were being held. Lucas observed the process with interest, noting the differences from his experience auditioning for the commercial blockbuster Inception. That audition had been directly overseen by Christopher Nolan and his production team in London, where even Warner Brothers played a limited role beyond providing the budget. In contrast, the Hunger Games auditions were deeply integrated with Lionsgate's operations. This difference laid bare a new facet of the industry for Lucas. Being part of Inception had given him a taste of working on a major project, but it was clear now that his experiences were just the tip of the iceberg. The direct and hands-on involvement of Lionsgate with the Hunger Games highlighted how varied the management and creative direction could be from one big project to another, offering Lucas valuable new insights into the complexities of film production. Now, stepping into the audition for the Hunger Games, Lucas realized he was venturing into a different aspect of the industry, one where the studio's involvement was more pronounced. This realization underscored that, despite his significant role in Inception, there was still much for him to learn and experience within the vast world of film. Chapter 184, Not Surprise? At the audition venue, Lucas didn't have to linger in anticipation of his turn to perform, he was promptly escorted to the audition room alongside Neil. To put it plainly, Lucas wasn't subject to the usual audition rigmarole he had experienced with previous projects. This time around, Lucas was under the representation of a manager, and with Neil's assistance, the role seemed almost tailor-made for him. The studio had Lucas in mind for the part of Peter Mellark, believing he was an ideal fit. Thus, Lucas's audition was more of a formality, a quick confirmation, an opportunity to iron out any potential scheduling conflicts, and a chance to gauge his rapport with the newly selected cast members in a chemistry test. Upon entering the audition space, the atmosphere was already buzzing with actors mingling and connecting. Jennifer was deep in conversation with her fellow Hunger Games CO stars, including Liam Hemsworth, Sandra Lafferty, Paula Malcolmson, and Wes Bentley. Yet, even as she engaged with them, her gaze kept wandering, as if she was on the lookout for someone. "Are you looking for someone?" Liam asked, catching her in her distracted state. Jennifer turned towards Liam, caught off guard. No," she hesitated, choosing to keep her thoughts to herself. Liam gave Jennifer a puzzled look before turning his attention back to the ongoing discussions with the other CO stars. As Lucas and Neil were guided by the receptionist to where the other actors had gathered, they observed the actors already deep in conversation, while the Hunger Games production team managed the auditions for various roles in the project. After pointing out where the newly cast actors were mingling, the receptionist excused herself, leaving Lucas and Neil to join the group. Approaching the new cast, Lucas spotted Jennifer among the actors. Seeing her in animated conversation, he couldn't help but smile. As they made their way closer, the actors noticed them. Jennifer, catching sight of Lucas, her eyes sparkled with recognition, though her expression remained composed, betraying little surprise. "Hi everyone, it's great to meet you all. I'm Lucas Knight," Lucas greeted the group of actors warmly. "And I'm Neil, his manager," Neil added with a smile, extending his greetings to the actors' managers who were present. "Hi, Lucas and Neil. I'm..." Following Lucas and Neil's introductions, it sparked a round of introductions from the other actors and even some of their managers. As names were exchanged, Lucas couldn't help but offer a friendly smile, especially noting that Jennifer merely gave him a slight wave. Walking over to the young actress, Lucas teased, "You don't seem too surprised to see me here." "Hehe, I'm actually quite surprised," Jennifer responded, her tone playful. "I just don't make a big show of it." "Is that right?" Lucas chuckled, enjoying the banter. "Absolutely. Seeing you sporting a new look has definitely taken me aback," Jennifer replied with a soft laugh, a sparkle in her eye. Their laughter filled the air, and then Jennifer playfully reached out to touch Lucas's head, where his hair was just beginning to grow back. Truthfully, Jennifer wasn't entirely taken aback to see Lucas joining her in the new film project, though she did feel a mix of relief, happiness, and a touch of surprise. She had half expected his presence. After all, it was she who had suggested to the Hunger Games production team that Lucas would fit the role of Peter Mellark perfectly. She believed they would share great chemistry on screen. The casting team had assured her they would take her recommendation into account, but deep down, Jennifer hadn't fully anticipated they would act on her suggestion. Discovering Lucas had indeed been cast in the film brought her a great deal of joy. Meanwhile, the production team and studio were already convinced of Lucas's suitability for the role, having been impressed by his portrayal of Arthur in the recent film Inception. Jennifer observed Lucas, noticing his markedly leaner appearance and the stubble on his head. With a mix of concern and amusement, she asked, looking at you now, why does it seem like you haven't eaten in days? And what happened to your hair? She couldn't help but laugh softly at the last part. Lucas responded with a smile, casually rubbing his head, I guess I got a bit too immersed in my role for the latest film project that wrapped up a couple of weeks ago. I'm currently on the mend, aiming to get back to my prime condition soon, hair growth included. Wow, Jennifer was genuinely impressed. Lucas's current state spoke volumes about his commitment to his role. That project must be something special. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I hope you don't mind me asking, and I understand if you can't share much, but what's the film about? Lucas nodded, his voice carrying a hint of solemnity, it's about a man who's fighting cancer. Oh. I see. Jennifer's response was tinged with understanding as she took in Lucas's transformed appearance. That explains why you look this way. What do you mean? Lucas teased, a playful glint in his eye. Nothing, Jennifer replied with a smile. Despite Lucas's current look being a far cry from his usual healthy glow and his signature blonde locks, her perception of him remained unchanged. Jennifer kept her thoughts to herself, especially with her manager nearby, but she had found herself thinking about Lucas quite a bit over the past few months since their work on Like Crazy. Initially, Jennifer had convinced herself that any feelings she harbored for Lucas during their project were fleeting, bound to fade with time and the distractions of her busy life. Yet, the opposite proved true. The longer Lucas was out of sight, the more pronounced her feelings became. Her experiences with the fluttery nuances of young love were limited. In her youth, Jennifer grappled with hyperactivity and social anxiety, which made school challenging and social interactions, especially with boys, somewhat awkward. She found solace in a sense of freedom only when she was performing on stage, where her anxieties would melt away, leaving a profound sense of fulfillment in their wake. Despite a somewhat isolated adolescence, feeling often lonely and friendless, it was in her professional interactions with Lucas that Jennifer felt a unique sense of comfort and serenity. This connection made her feel drawn to him, even though she was uncertain if he shared the same sentiments. Chapter 185, Feelings? As Jennifer chatted with Lucas, her face alight with joy, others, including Liam, couldn't help but notice the warmth in her expressions, markedly different from her interactions with the rest of them. Observing Jennifer's animated conversation with Lucas, who appeared quite frail, stirred an unfamiliar pang in Liam. She doesn't look at me that way. Liam thought silently, watching the two with a mix of curiosity and a budding sense of envy. Liam had been working closely with Jennifer for a few weeks, having run through several rehearsals and mock scenes for the Hunger Games project. During their time together, he found himself gradually, and somewhat unexpectedly, developing feelings for her. Despite his role as Gale, a character who doesn't end up with Jennifer's Katniss in the story, Liam found himself entertaining the thought of exploring a relationship with someone from the same profession, perhaps even in secret. He was aware his manager and agency might disapprove, yet the idea lingered. But now, seeing the woman he had begun to harbor feelings for engaging so joyfully with another man stirred a subtle jealousy in him. Unbeknownst to Liam, Jennifer wasn't interested in dating him, regardless of her feelings towards Lucas or anyone else. Curiosity getting the better of him, Liam decided to join Jennifer and Lucas. Hey, Lucas. What are you two chatting about? He inquired, noting their laughter and the easy rapport that seemed to isolate them from the others. Oh, Liam, Jennifer responded with a nod. Lucas was just sharing some hilarious experiences from his recent project. Really? Mind if I listen in? Liam asked, his expression one of interest and curiosity. Yet, underneath lay a tinge of jealousy and annoyance. Lucas, with a twinkle in his eye, recounted, during my last project, there was this hilarious moment when my co-star, Seth, swapped out my water for vodka right before we filmed a really intense scene. You can imagine the authenticity of my performance on that take. Jennifer's laughter echoed softly, clearly delighted by the story. Lucas, riding the wave of her amusement, dove into more behind-the-scenes antics, and another time, Seth convinced everyone to speak only in rhymes during rehearsals. And imagine we're trying to discuss character motivation, and all you get is, he feels quite sad, quite mad, not bad, this lad. It was absolutely ridiculous, but it broke the ice like nothing else. Liam observed Jennifer's laughter at Lucas's story, but couldn't quite share in the amusement, prompting him to ask, who's Seth? Lucas replied with a smile, Seth Rogen. Liam was taken aback upon hearing Seth Rogen's name, recognizing him as a well-known Canadian comedian, actor, and filmmaker. It was a surprise to Liam that Lucas, with his unassuming appearance, had worked alongside such an industry heavyweight. Liam then inquired about Lucas's role in the upcoming project, to which Lucas casually responded, "I'll be playing Peeta Mellark." "You're going to be Peeta?" Liam couldn't hide his surprise. Lucas, noting Liam's reaction, asked, "You seem surprised." "Well, yeah, given how you look, I wouldn't have pegged you for Peeta," Liam remarked candidly. Jennifer's eyebrows knitted together in slight disapproval as she chided Liam, "Don't put it that way. Lucas doesn't usually look like this. His current appearance is the result of his deep commitment to his last role. That's the reason behind his look now." Liam shifted uneasily, taken aback by Jennifer's fervent defense of Lucas. Lucas chimed in, affirming Jennifer's point, "Yeah, she's right. I'll gradually get back into shape and let my hair grow back." Liam, still seemingly unconvinced and focusing on Lucas's physique, pressed on, "I get that your last project demanded a lot from you, leading to your current appearance. However, Peeta is described differently in the books. He is described to be in medium height and stocky built. How come you were cast as Peeta?" Jennifer's expression turned into a frown, detecting a hint of issue in Liam's tone towards Lucas. Lucas, sensing Liam's skepticism from the moment he joined them, felt the underlying lack of respect. "It's the studio's decision to cast him as Peeta, Liam," Jennifer interjected, aiming to put an end to the scrutiny. Confronted with Jennifer's support for Lucas, Liam chose to retreat into silence and walked away. Jennifer, apologetic for the discomfort caused, said to Lucas, "I'm really sorry about Liam. He's not usually like this." Lucas, with a forgiving smile, responded, "It's all right." He then shared, "I've actually met Liam's older brother before, so I don't want to judge Liam based solely on today." "Older brother? Who?" Jennifer inquired, curious. "Chris Hemsworth," Lucas revealed, glancing towards Liam's departing figure. "It was a year ago, but Chris showed genuine kindness when we spoke." Lucas gave Jennifer a knowing look and said, "I think I might know why he was acting that way towards me." Intrigued, Jennifer leaned in, asking, "And why is that?" With a playful grin, Lucas ventured, "He seems to have a crush on you and got jealous seeing us together. That's probably why he was so standoffish with me." Jennifer's eyes went wide, a mix of surprise and disbelief coloring her voice. "What? Are you serious? I highly doubt Liam has feelings for me. We've always been strictly professional. I can't imagine him mixing personal feelings with work." Lucas laughed lightly, shaking his head, "Come on, it's not unheard of for colleagues to develop feelings for each other, even if it's just one-sided, right?" Caught off guard by Lucas's observation, Jennifer found herself at a loss for words. She paused, glancing back at Lucas, the implication of his words slowly sinking in. Jennifer mulled over Lucas's insight, realizing there might be a sliver of truth to his words, especially considering her own burgeoning feelings for Lucas. However, she was resolute in keeping those emotions under wraps. In the complex web of their industry, embarking on a relationship was laden with considerations: public perception, the risk of personal matters affecting professional dynamics, and the ever-present scrutiny under the public eye were just the tip of the iceberg. Moreover, Jennifer found herself unable to voice her feelings to Lucas, held back by a mix of professional caution and personal hesitance. Casting a glance towards Liam, who stood a short distance away, Jennifer acknowledged the possibility of his interest in her. Yet, regardless of Liam's feelings, her own heart didn't echo the sentiment. Chapter 186, Time Skip. At the venue, Gary Ross and Suzanne Collins, along with the Hunger Games team, observed the actors they had chosen for their roles. Having already introduced themselves to the cast, they were now watching the mock scenes being played back on the monitors. "Why does Lucas look so different?" Suzanne inquired, her attention fixed on Lucas, who was in the midst of rehearsal with his fellow actors. His manager mentioned that he underwent this transformation for his last project, fully committing to the role, Gary explained, glancing at Lucas. The actor before them didn't quite match the image they had seen in his profile earlier. Suzanne nodded in understanding. The decision to cast Lucas Knight as Peeta didn't really concern her, despite him being taller and leaner than the somewhat stockier build described for Peeta in the books. After all, the studio was prioritizing talent and strong performances over strict physical conformity. In adaptations like The Hunger Games, while certain physical traits can be significant to align with the source material, casting decisions are heavily influenced by an actor's capacity to capture the character's core and convey their emotional journey. Particularly after witnessing Lucas's mock scenes alongside other characters, the production team was convinced. They felt Lucas's portrayal resonated with their interpretation of Peeta. Any physical discrepancies from the character as described in the novels were deemed minor or irrelevant, overshadowed by Lucas's compelling performance. As time flew by, 2 weeks quickly elapsed with Lucas diligently working alongside his fellow Hunger Games cast members, rehearsing scenes and refining their portrayals. Throughout this period, Lucas not only made significant strides in his recovery but also formed a closer bond with Jennifer. However, it was clear to Lucas that Liam, one of his CO stars, seemed to harbor some resentment towards him. With his hair now fully regrown, thicker and more robust than ever, Lucas had returned to his original look. Yet, as he delved deeper into embodying Peeta Mellark through his personal mind workshop, he observed a subtle shift towards a stockier build, though he remained predominantly lean. In immersing himself in the role, Lucas began to acquire Peeta Mellark's distinctive skills, notably his exceptional strength, strategic thinking, and most importantly, his talent for camouflage. These abilities not only augmented Lucas's physical preparation but also enriched his understanding and portrayal of Peeta, enhancing his performances in ways that deeply impressed the production team and further solidified his embodiment of the character. Along the journey, Lucas began to grasp the true extent of his mind workshop's capabilities. Initially, he had thought it only allowed him to hone specific, standout skills of any character he immersed himself in. However, discovering he could acquire a broad array of a character's abilities opened up a world of endless possibilities for him. He reminisced about his role in Game of Thrones, recalling how he mastered horse riding by simulating the experience in his mind workshop. But now, Lucas sensed something different, almost as if his mind workshop had undergone its own form of leveling up. Its capabilities seemed to have expanded, allowing him to spend longer periods in this mental space and to tap into a wider range of skills than before. Lucas speculated that his continuous involvement in various projects and his dedication to fully completing them might have contributed to enhancing his mind workshop. This evolution not only surprised him but also excited him about the potential growth and the myriad opportunities it could unlock for his future roles. As Lucas pondered the boundaries of his mind workshop, he couldn't help but wonder about the extent to which immersing himself as Peter Parker might endow him with some of Peter's attributes, like the famed spider sense, formidable physical strength, and notably, his sharp intellect. Even if he couldn't access Spider-Man's quintessential powers, the ability to cling to walls and swing from webs, the thought of acquiring Peter Parker's intelligence alone was enticing. However, Lucas also began to recognize the limitations of his mind workshop. It appeared that unless he was actively involved in a project featuring the character he wished to explore, he couldn't delve into or practice that character's traits within his mental workshop. This restriction prevented him from freely experimenting with and adopting the personas of characters in projects he wasn't a part of. Moreover, Lucas acknowledged that even if these constraints didn't exist, limitless immersion could potentially have adverse effects. Diving into too many characters without focus could dilute his concentration on the role at hand. Additionally, there was the possibility of negative side effects from absorbing an array of skills in a brief time frame. This understanding highlighted a critical balance Lucas needed to maintain, leveraging his mind workshop to enhance his acting while ensuring he remained focused and unaffected by the myriad of characters' abilities he might otherwise adopt. With the Hunger Games project not set to begin filming for a while, since it was only March 2011, the cast temporarily went their separate ways as the production team carried on with auditions for other roles. "Let's keep in touch while we're waiting for our project to start, okay?" Jennifer suggested, locking eyes with Lucas. "Absolutely," Lucas agreed, nodding. He already had Jennifer's phone number, and they had been exchanging texts quite frequently for some time. Then, catching Liam's gaze from a distance, Lucas offered a nod, which Liam returned with one of his own. After wrapping things up, Lucas and his manager caught a flight back to Los Angeles for a brief taping of Modern Family. Once completed, Lucas found himself with some downtime in Los Angeles, a perfect opportunity to relax before heading back to New York for his next commitments. Back in New York, with a window of free time before his schedule ramped up with other projects, Lucas seized the chance to catch up with friends. He reconnected with Paul, caught up with Liza and Leo over meals at a restaurant, and even stepped back into his old shoes as a part-time waiter there. He dropped by the bar where Samantha worked, enjoying conversations with her and her aunt, the bar's manager. A visit to Bellevue Hospital with Liza was also on his agenda, a place they frequented together. Lucas and Liza were greeted with mixed reactions from the children. A few weeks prior, the kids had reveled in Lucas's bald look, affectionately dubbing him Bald Dylan and laughing merrily. Now, seeing his hair fully grown back, they couldn't hide their disappointment, letting out sighs that drew a wry chuckle from both Lucas and Liza. As time marched on and Christmas rolled around, Lucas, with Liza's help, prepared special gifts for the hospital's young patients. This thoughtful gesture brightened the day for both the kids and their parents. The parents and nurses also recognized Lucas. Several parents approached, their faces lighting up with smiles, as they requested his autograph, adding a touch of celebrity sparkle to their holiday season. Chapter 187, New Beginnings and Fresh Opportunities. The arrival of 2011 brought with it New Year celebrations, and Lucas found himself catching up with Jennifer over a phone call. Felicity also reached out, echoing Jennifer's Happy New Year wishes with her own. As January unfolded, a fresh year lay ahead of Lucas, brimming with new opportunities and potential projects. In the midst of this new beginning, Lucas received some exciting news. 127 Hours, the film marking his debut, had made a splash at the box office, raking in $92 million and showing signs of climbing even higher. While indie films might not draw the same immediate attention or enjoy the expansive marketing budgets of their commercial counterparts, they often benefit from a longer screening duration, stretching over several months. This strategy banks on word-of-mouth endorsements and grassroots marketing efforts from viewers who've enjoyed the film. This extended theatrical run turned out to be a boon for 127 Hours. Its box office numbers saw a notable increase, likely fueled by Lucas's rising star power thanks to his role in a high-profile commercial film and his burgeoning success in the music industry. This synergy between Lucas's various projects and the indie film's strategic release plan highlighted the unique way indie films can carve out their own path to profitability. The box office success of 127 Hours was nothing short of remarkable. Despite the end of its domestic screenings in the US back in November, the film continued to draw significant earnings from international markets. With the international screenings still ongoing, 127 Hours was on the cusp of surpassing the $100 million mark, a feat rarely achieved by indie films. This unexpected surge in revenue not only surprised many but also hinted at the potential for Lucas's star power and reputation in Hollywood to solidify further. This achievement was particularly noteworthy given that 127 Hours alone had propelled Lucas's career forward, especially when coupled with his role in the blockbuster hit Inception. Inception had already amassed $421 million domestically, with international earnings reaching $320 million, culminating in a staggering total of $741 million. This put Inception within reach of the coveted $1 billion box office mark, potentially marking Lucas's first involvement in a film to achieve such a feat. As January progressed, an eagerly anticipated event loomed on the horizon for Lucas: the Sundance Film Festival 2011. This year was particularly special because Like Crazy, a film Lucas played a significant role in, was submitted to the festival by Drake. Lucas, alongside Jennifer, Felicity, and the rest of the Like Crazy cast, was expected to attend. The festival promised not just a showcase of their hard work but also an opportunity to celebrate and share it with the world. Meanwhile, Lucas's album Night hit an impressive milestone with 549,000 sales. These remarkable numbers not only showcased Lucas's musical talent but also introduced him to music enthusiasts worldwide. His success in the music industry was further amplified by his role in Inception, which, in turn, contributed to the increased box office earnings of the indie film 127 Hours he starred in. Lucas's record label, Big Machine Records, reached out with hopes of steering him towards a more music-centric career, given the success of Night. However, Lucas's primary focus remained on acting. Since his contract with Big Machine Records was specifically for the Night album and did not bind him personally, the label found themselves unable to compel him to commit further to music. Yet, the financial success from his album sales, amassing royalties of approximately $3.8 million, led Lucas to ponder the possibility of releasing a song or two. The substantial income from his music could indeed be advantageous, allowing him to invest in companies like Netflix, which was still in its formative years. The idea of leveraging his musical success to further his financial portfolio was an enticing one, offering Lucas a range of options for his future endeavors. Meanwhile, throughout these months, Lucas and Vincent's startup venture, Uber, saw promising progress. They successfully appointed a CEO for the startup, who not only brought valuable skills to the table but was also an investor in the company. With such a strategic addition to the team, expectations were high for the company's advancement. However, the CEO's role in determining the company's direction was somewhat limited. The real driving force behind the strategic decisions and future plans for Uber remained with Lucas and Vincent. They were the visionaries, charting the course they envisioned for the company, which the CEO was tasked to execute. This dynamic ensured that while the CEO managed day-to-day operations and brought in his expertise, the foundational goals and direction of Uber firmly stayed in the hands of its founders. But let's set that aside for now, as Sundance was just a few weeks away, and Lucas was gearing up for a rendezvous with Jennifer and Felicity in New York, a chance for the trio to reconnect and catch up. Interestingly, it was Felicity who initiated this meetup, reaching out to Lucas with a phone call. When Lucas mentioned to Jennifer that he was planning to meet Felicity in New York, she expressed her desire to join them, given that their schedules were relatively open. Lucas found it somewhat weird that within the vast network of relationships he'd cultivated in the industry, it was his connections with women like Jennifer and Felicity that he felt more close with. Despite forging friendships with notable male actors like Tom Hiddleston, Leonardo DiCaprio, Ken Watanabe, Ty Burrell, Kit Harington, and Tom Hardy, Lucas realized he didn't share the same level of closeness with them as he did with Jennifer, and now, increasingly, with Felicity, whom he'd been keeping in contact with more frequently. Chapter 188, Reuniting with the Two Beauties. Jennifer had just touched down in New York when she met Lucas at the airport. With a warm greeting, Lucas said, "Nice to see you." "Hey," Jennifer replied, wrapping Lucas in a welcoming hug, then quickly inquired, "How have you been?" "I'm doing just fine," Lucas responded as they began to walk together. He then turned the question back to her, "And you? Looking forward to your second Sundance?" "Absolutely, I am. What about you?" Jennifer asked, her smile broadening. "Definitely," Lucas returned the smile, and they continued chatting, making their way out of the airport together. Lucas and Jennifer caught a taxi together. Jennifer queried, "We're headed to your place?" Lucas confirmed, mentioning, "Yeah, I've got a rented apartment in the city," and added, "Felicity's already there, she arrived in New York yesterday." Jennifer, slightly surprised, echoed, "She's already here." This snippet captures a moment of casual yet significant connection among friends, highlighting their ease of communication and the spontaneity of their plans. "Yes, she was eager to explore the city, so I ended up playing tour guide," Lucas replied with a smile. "Sounds almost like a date," Jennifer teased, her voice carrying a hint of jealousy. "A date, really?" Lucas laughed. "Isn't it?" Jennifer pressed. Noticing her tone, Lucas offered, "If you're feeling left out, we could tour the city together later." "I'm not feeling left out," Jennifer quickly clarified, a touch embarrassed. She then shifted the topic, "Anyway, I'm not here just for leisure. I'm attending the NBR Gala." Lucas, surprised, asked, "You're going to this year's National Board of Review Gala?" "Yeah, it's in 2 days, on January 11th. I'm going for Winter's Bone." "Honestly, I was taken by surprise when I found out I was nominated for the breakthrough performance. It's such an honor, especially for a role that means so much to me," Jennifer shared, her excitement mixed with a touch of disbelief at the recognition her work on Winter's Bone had received. After her inquiry, Jennifer looked at Lucas, curious, "And you, Lucas? Were you nominated for anything at the NBR?" Lucas simply shook his head, adding, "No, I didn't get nominated for any category, nor am I attending." Jennifer, somewhat surprised, replied, "That's unexpected, especially with your stellar performance in 127 hours, and its box office nearing 100 million. It surely warrants some recognition, doesn't it?" Lucas responded with a smile, "I'm not too surprised about the nomination. The NBR has a knack for highlighting indie films, much like yours. 127 hours, while indie, had a considerable budget and an established director. It's only fair that other, smaller projects get the spotlight too." Jennifer responded to Lucas's modesty with a warm smile, playfully challenging his humility. "You're too modest. But I still think the NBR should have at least recognized your performance," she asserted. Lucas, ever optimistic, brushed off the concern. "Let's not dwell on it. There are still the Golden Globes and the Oscars ahead," he suggested confidently. Jennifer couldn't resist teasing him further, "Now you're just being overly confident. Golden Globes? Oscars? Do you really think you'll get nominated?" Lucas, unfazed, simply smiled, "Why not? I think I have a shot." Their banter continued, light and playful, as they made their way to their destination. When Jennifer arrived at Lucas's apartment, she found Felicity absorbed in something on the computer. As soon as Felicity heard the door open, she spun around to see Jennifer and Lucas entering. "Nice to see you again, Jen," Felicity exclaimed with a smile. "Great to see you too, Fliss," Jennifer responded warmly. Fliss was a special nickname that Lucas and Jennifer affectionately used for Felicity during the making of Like Crazy. "What's got you so engaged?" Jennifer inquired, noticing Felicity's focus on the computer. "I was just diving into something Lucas showed me," Felicity began, only to be cut off by Jennifer's curiosity. "Lucas showed you something? What was it?" Jennifer prodded, eager to know. Meanwhile, Lucas was in the kitchen, whipping up a meal for them. "It's called Bitcoin," Felicity explained, browsing through information online. "Bitcoin? What's that?" Jennifer asked, her curiosity piqued even further. "It's some kind of digital currency," Felicity tried to explain, struggling to recall Lucas's exact words. "Basically, it's like online money." "Online money? So, you mean it can be turned into real cash?" Jennifer pressed on. Felicity nodded. "The fascinating part is how you can earn it by doing something called mining on your computer. It somehow generates real money while you do nothing, just let the computer mine it for you. That's how Lucas explained it," she shared, summarizing the concept with a hint of wonder. "It does sound fascinating," Jennifer said, her eyes lighting up with curiosity. "Is Lucas making a fortune off it?" Felicity couldn't help but laugh at that question. "Actually, not really. One Bitcoin is only worth about $0.30 right now. And mining all day might only net you $8 to $10, assuming the computer runs non-stop." Jennifer pondered this for a moment, then said, "Well, making money without lifting a finger isn't too shabby, all things considered." "That's what I thought," Felicity agreed. "But Lucas," she glanced around and lowered her voice before continuing, "Lucas is really betting on Bitcoin blowing up big time in the future." "Seriously?" Jennifer was taken aback. "Yes, he believes that Bitcoin will become a widely used currency because it allows people to transact directly with each other, without any central bank or government control." Felicity shared quietly, as if revealing a secret. "Oh, isn't that risky?" Jennifer, who was new to the concept of Bitcoin, asked. "I thought so too, but Lucas is quite optimistic about it. He believes in its potential as a decentralized digital currency. He's already holding thousands of Bitcoins and plans to invest even more," Felicity divulged. That does sound fascinating," Jennifer mused, just as Lucas came back into the room with their meals. "Seems like you two have been deep in conversation," Lucas observed with a smile. "We were just discussing your fascination with Bitcoin," Felicity revealed. Chapter 189, Jennifer Special Dish. When Lucas heard that two young women were talking about his interest in Bitcoin, he chimed in, "Oh, so what do you two think about Bitcoin?" Jennifer and Felicity shared a look before Jennifer responded, "Actually, I think the concept of Bitcoin isn't half bad." "Agreed. The idea of a decentralized currency is appealing, though I'm skeptical about its potential to take off like you mentioned," Felicity added, turning towards Lucas. Lucas grinned and confidently replied, "Trust me, you won't regret investing in even a single Bitcoin now. It's going to be worth so much more later." Then, changing the subject, he suggested, "But let's put that aside for now. How about we enjoy this meal I've prepared first? Jennifer, you must be tired after your flight. Come, let's eat." Jennifer and Felicity then turned their attention to the meals Lucas had brought out. On the plate was a beautifully arranged Eggs Benedict. The dish featured perfectly poached eggs with their yolks still soft and runny, perched atop slices of toasted English muffin and a layer of savory ham. The entire creation was generously draped in a velvety hollandaise sauce, its rich, creamy texture contrasting with the slight crispness of the muffin. A sprinkle of chopped chives and a dash of paprika added a pop of color and a hint of spice. "I had no idea you could cook, Lucas," Jennifer remarked, her gaze fixed on the Eggs Benedict. "These look absolutely incredible." Lucas responded with a smile, handing Jennifer and Felicity their plates. "Give them a try. They're quite popular here in New York." "Sure, why not?" Jennifer agreed, taking a bite. Her eyes sparkled as she chewed. This is delicious." Felicity laughed at her friend's enthusiastic response. "It is good, but it pales in comparison to what Lucas made for me yesterday." "Oh? What did he cook for you?" Jennifer inquired, her curiosity piqued, yet a trace of envy colored her tone. Well, he made me a New York-style pizza, Felicity mentioned with a touch of smugness in her voice. Oh? Just a pizza? Jennifer couldn't help but exclaim, a bit taken aback. She had assumed Lucas had whipped up something exceptionally special for Felicity, only to find out it was just a pizza. What do you mean just a pizza? It's not your average pizza, it's New York style, Felicity retorted, somewhat at a loss for words. Still, it's pizza, Jennifer simply replied, shrugging it off. It's not just any pizza, it's special because it's homemade. And not to mention, it's made with fresh, high-quality ingredients, right, Lucas? Felicity turned towards Lucas, looking for support in this culinary debate. Lucas couldn't help but offer a wry chuckle in response before Jennifer chimed in. I'm pretty handy in the kitchen myself. How about I cook something for you next time, Lucas? Jennifer suggested, her voice laced with a hint of pride. Jennifer, you must be exhausted after your trip. You should probably rest up before thinking about cooking, Lucas suggested kindly, smiling. Well. Jennifer's voice trailed off, a note of disappointment in her tone. She glanced between Lucas and Felicity, a dawning realization in her eyes. Felicity, did you stay over at Lucas's place? Upon Jennifer's question, Lucas was quick to clarify, no, that's not the case. Felicity added with a hint of jest, Lucas's landlord has strict rules, so a sleepover wasn't in the cards, unfortunately. Lucas shot her a bewildered look as she emphasized unfortunately, suggesting a playful regret at not being able to stay. And where did you end up staying, Fliss? Jennifer asked, visibly relieved by the clarification. Felicity explained, I ended up booking a hotel nearby. Staying in the city for long isn't exactly wallet-friendly. Jennifer nodded, understandingly, my manager arranged a hotel for me in the city as well. I'll head over there later. As the conversation flowed, Felicity was surprised and intrigued to learn about Lucas and Jennifer's collaboration on an upcoming project. After a lively discussion, Felicity and Jennifer bid Lucas farewell for the day. Lucas saw them to the door, and they headed off to their respective hotels, leaving behind a day filled with friendly banter and discussions. Early in the day, Lucas met Jennifer and Felicity at their hotel, discovering they were staying at the same place. Jennifer invited them into her hotel room, eager to cook a meal for Lucas. What are you planning to make? Lucas inquired, curiosity piqued. Jennifer responded with a playful grin, it's something quite special and a surprise. You'll see once it's ready. Both Lucas and Felicity exchanged curious looks, then noticed Jennifer had already laid out a variety of ingredients in the kitchen. There were items typically used for pizza, alongside a selection of other ingredients that hinted at something more unique, but they couldn't quite guess what Jennifer was planning to create. Lucas and Felicity engaged in conversation for some time before Jennifer announced that her culinary creation was ready to be served. Lucas cast a puzzled look at the dish presented before him. Is this a pizza, but with pasta or something in it? Lucas asked, bewildered by the unconventional combination. Jennifer unveiled the dish with pride, this is called a chili pizza sandwich. Felicity, amused by the novelty, remarked, well, it's definitely unique. Just give it a try. I think you're going to like it, Jennifer encouraged. As Lucas and Felicity took their first bites of the chili pizza sandwich, they were greeted with a bold fusion of flavors. The sandwich boasted a spicy kick from the chili, balanced with the rich, tangy tomato sauce typically found on a pizza. The melted cheese added a creamy texture, complementing the crispiness of the toasted bread that enclosed the filling. Lucas, after a moment's reflection, revised his initial assessment, not bad, to a more appreciative, well, it's actually quite good. He wanted to acknowledge Jennifer's effort and creativity in the dish. Jennifer seemed momentarily disappointed by his initial reaction but perked up at his reassessment. Meanwhile, Felicity appeared genuinely impressed, it's really delicious. With both of her friends enjoying the meal, Jennifer's smile returned, her efforts validated by their enjoyment. Chapter 190, Encountering Them Again. While Lucas spent time with Jennifer and Felicity, he also took on the role of their guide around the city. They snapped photos at the Statue of Liberty before heading to Central Park for a picnic. As they enjoyed their time together, Lucas couldn't shake the feeling that a suspicious figure was trailing them. Every now and then, Lucas would steal glances at the stranger, who was armed with a camera. A thought struck him suddenly, paparazzi. It seemed almost too clear. The way the individual glanced around, attempting to look inconspicuous whenever Lucas's eyes met his, only added to Lucas's suspicion. For Matt, it felt like fortune was on his side. He wandered through the bustling streets of New York City, hopeful that he might spot a celebrity going about their day like any other person. New York City has always had a unique vibe. Despite its streets occasionally hosting celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio or other well-known actors and superstars, the locals often pass by without a second glance. Of course, exceptions exist, such as Michael Jackson, whose unparalleled fame made him almost impossible to ignore. Yet, since his passing, no one has quite reached the same level of universal recognition. In essence, New York offers a sanctuary for celebrities who don't command the same global attention as Michael Jackson. It's a place where they can unwind, away from the constant glare of the spotlight, enjoying time with family and friends. Matt, in his pursuit as a paparazzi, has crossed paths with several celebrities, though none of them held significant fame. In fact, if Matt weren't so deeply immersed in the world of celebrity spotting, he might not have recognized them at all. Matt's luck seemed to be on an upswing when he stumbled upon 3 young actors, each rising in popularity and seemingly enjoying their time in New York without a care in the world. His eyes widened in recognition at the sight of 2 promising actresses, Jennifer Lawrence and Felicity Jones, and his excitement peaked at the sight of Lucas Knight. Lucas Knight was particularly intriguing to Matt. With Lucas's indie film 127 Hours on the brink of grossing $100 million and his debut album Night gaining traction, his career was heating up. His role in the blockbuster Inception as Arthur had already earned him acclaim, and a clip of him singing Perfect on YouTube had gone viral, amassing 17 million views as fans confessed to replaying it incessantly. Jackpot, Matt thought, a thrill running through him. He quickly snapped a photo of Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity as they posed with the Statue of Liberty in the background. Not wanting to lose this golden opportunity, Matt discreetly followed them to Central Park. There, the trio seemed to effortlessly switch gears, setting up for a picnic on the lush grass. Amidst the greenery, Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity spread out a large, cozy blanket, unpacking a basket filled with an assortment of sandwiches, fruits, and refreshments. They laughed and chatted, fully immersed in their moment of relaxation and friendship, oblivious to the watchful eyes of Matt from a distance. Matt chuckled to himself, thinking, these photos are going to be worth a fortune, especially with Lucas in them, as he discreetly snapped a picture. But then, he caught Lucas's gaze drifting in his direction. In a bid to appear inconspicuous, Matt adopted the demeanor of a clueless tourist, pretending to be absorbed in capturing the essence of New York rather than singling out Lucas. I'm just a regular photographer exploring New York, Matt reassured himself, hoping his act would dispel any suspicions. Noticing Lucas's attention had shifted away, Matt seized the opportunity to switch his camera to video mode, aiming to capture footage of Lucas and his companions from a distance. Unlike the more intrusive paparazzi who might directly confront their subjects with questions, Matt preferred the subtlety of photographing celebrities to sell the images to media outlets. As he began recording, however, Lucas's quick glance back in his direction made Matt worry. Great, I've spooked them. They might bolt now. But Lucas's reaction was unexpected. Instead of retreating, he simply smiled confidently and made some unknown gestures towards Matt. Surprised and intrigued by what Lucas might be signaling, Matt found his curiosity piqued only for it to be dashed when Lucas unapologetically flipped him the middle finger. Feeling outwitted, despite his initial interest in deciphering Lucas's gestures as if they were some sort of silent dialogue, Matt couldn't help but respond in kind with a middle finger of his own. Lucas found himself thoroughly entertained by his little interaction with a paparazzi, catching the attention of Jennifer and Felicity, who noticed his focus had shifted elsewhere. What are you up to, Lucas? Jennifer inquired, having just witnessed Lucas's rather bold gesture towards someone in the distance. Do you see that guy over there? The one with the New York cap and holding a camera. Lucas pointed out the paparazzi lurking not too far from them, prompting Jennifer and Felicity to glance in the direction he indicated. They spotted the man, who seemed to be watching them intently. Wait, you're telling me you were flipping off that guy? Jennifer asked, a mix of surprise and amusement in her voice. Yes, Lucas replied, the smile on his face undeniable. You're terrible, Felicity exclaimed, though her tone was more playful than scolding. Not at all. That guy has been sneakily taking photos or maybe even recording us, and he's been following us around. In short, he's a paparazzi, Lucas explained, still smiling. Paparazzi? I've had my share of encounters with them, Jennifer remarked, observing the man with the cap. She noticed him returning Lucas's gesture with a middle finger of his own, which sent Jennifer and Felicity into bursts of laughter. He seems a bit ticked off, doesn't he? Felicity couldn't help but comment. Ha, he'll get over it, Lucas said, waving nonchalantly at the man, amused by the playful antagonism from a distance. All right, it started with just a photo, now it's time to up the ante with some questions, Matt mumbled to himself, hitting the record button on his camera with the intention of confronting Lucas. However, a sudden thought halted his approach. He remembered that, besides himself, there were other entry-level paparazzi scouring the city for a glimpse of celebrities. Seeing an opportunity, Matt decided to reach out to them, sharing the location of the three actors, especially Lucas, in hopes of escalating their irritation with an onslaught of unwelcome attention. Chapter 191, Invasive Questions. Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity were enjoying their picnic when they spotted a paparazzi edging closer. Look, he's coming our way! Jennifer exclaimed, unable to hide her surprise. Oh no, he's going to ruin our day. Felicity sighed, resignation in her voice. Well, it seems he's quite keen on getting to know us, Lucas said with a chuckle, causing Jennifer and Felicity to burst into laughter despite the approaching paparazzi. As the paparazzi drew nearer, his camera was constantly trained on Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity. As soon as Matt approached Lucas, he couldn't resist asking, "It's great to see you in New York, Mr. Lucas. Enjoying your time with these two ladies?" Matt's gaze shifted to the women accompanying Lucas, the renowned starlet Jennifer Lawrence and the well-known British actress, Felicity Jones. Despite not being the type to envy others, Matt found himself feeling a tinge of jealousy towards Lucas in that moment. Lucas's reply came with a slight smile, "Indeed, I am enjoying the company of my two friends." Matt responded with a smile of his own, amused by Lucas's emphasis on friends. "Really? Just friends?" he teased, his expression a mix of skepticism and curiosity, as he eyed Lucas and the stunning actresses by his side. "What answer are you hoping for?" "Lucas is simply our friend," Felicity interjected, noticing the paparazzi's skeptical look about her and Jennifer's connection with Lucas. "I'm sorry, it's just not every day you see a rising actor surrounded by two stunning women who are just friends," Matt replied, laughing off his earlier comment. "What, is it now a crime for a man to be friends with women?" Jennifer shot back, clearly taken aback by Matt's insinuation. Matt laughed again, "Of course, there's nothing wrong with men being friends with women. It's just uncommon in Hollywood for an actor like Lucas to have two gorgeous women as his friends." "You're just thinking with a skewed perspective," Lucas retorted with a shake of his head, dismissing the implication. As Matt continued to probe with questions, he was pleasantly surprised to find that Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity didn't shy away from him, even though it was clear he was a paparazzi. Matt found himself surprised by the trio's ability to brush off even the most potentially controversial questions with ease and humor. This left him a bit disappointed. Had they reacted with indignation or annoyance, he might have spun their reactions into sensational stories that could have garnered him more profit. Instead, their straightforward dismissal of any insinuation that they were anything more than friends left little room for scandalous speculation. Initially, Jennifer and Felicity were wary of engaging with a paparazzi who clearly had ulterior motives. However, Lucas's composed and nonchalant demeanor in dealing with the paparazzi's probes gradually eased their apprehension. Taking a cue from Lucas, they began to respond more freely and casually to the paparazzi, effectively neutralizing the potential for controversy with their relaxed approach. As they were engaging in casual conversation with Matt, the paparazzi, Lucas's sharp eyes caught sight of several figures in the distance. Their camera-laden hands and familiar attire instantly signaled to him that they were more paparazzi, potentially more invasive than Matt. Drawing on the heightened awareness and quick thinking he had honed while delving into the mind workshop as PETA, Lucas realized the imminent hassle they were about to face. Without acknowledging Matt's ongoing questions, he discreetly signaled to Jennifer and Felicity, "We need to make a quick exit." "What? Why all of a sudden?" Jennifer couldn't help but express her confusion. "There are more like him," Lucas gestured subtly towards Matt, "we should head out now." His intention wasn't out of fear but to spare them from an onslaught of further probing and unwelcome attention. With that, Jennifer and Felicity quickly got to their feet, and to Matt's amusement, the trio made a swift departure. They dashed away, their sudden sprint drawing fleeting glances from the bystanders in Central Park. The sudden sprint of Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity through Central Park turned a few heads, but only for a moment. In the bustling life of New York City, such occurrences are just a ripple in the day's stream. Passers-by glanced at the trio's hasty departure, then continued with their own lives, undisturbed by the drama unfolding. Matt stood there, processing the swift turn of events. Lucas had acted so suddenly, whispering to his companions and then bolting, that Matt barely had time to realize what was happening before they were gone, leaving him alone with his questions and camera. What the heck? Matt muttered to himself, feeling no urge to chase after Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity. He had already captured enough footage and photos to sell to various agencies, which was a small victory in itself. As Matt scrolled through his camera, reviewing the content he had managed to gather, a tap on his shoulder startled him. He turned to find Kyle, another paparazzo, standing behind him, camera in hand. Matt recognized him instantly. "Oh, Kyle? You're already here," Matt remarked, a bit surprised as he powered down his digital camera. "Where's Lucas Knight? Didn't you text me saying he was here?" Kyle inquired, scanning the area with a look of anticipation. "You're too late, they just took off," Matt replied, his words tapering off as he began to understand why Lucas and his companions had dashed away so abruptly. "They just left? Where did they head?" Kyle pressed, eager for any lead. "They ran off in that direction," Matt pointed towards the route Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity had taken. Without hesitation, Kyle and a few others with cameras quickly set off in the direction Matt had indicated, hoping to catch up with the trio. Left behind, Matt felt a sense of relief that he hadn't exerted himself in pursuit. After all, he was the first to spot Lucas and had already secured valuable material from his encounter with the actor and the two actresses. This content alone was a satisfactory outcome for his day's work. Chapter 192, Player. The paparazzi, sprinting in the direction Matt indicated, caught a glimpse of three figures darting away. Instantly, they recognized the man with blonde hair accompanied by two young women as Lucas. Kyle dashed with impressive speed, oblivious to the curious glances of passers-by in Central Park as he yelled, "There's Lucas, hurry up, let's go." They pursued the trio, but their efforts were in vain. The three had already hailed a taxi and disappeared into the traffic. Despite their attempts to follow, the taxi quickly outpaced them, leaving them far behind. Being left behind filled Kyle and the rest with profound disappointment. As Matt approached, he asked, "You couldn't stop them?" Kyle, turning to Matt, retorted, "You could have at least tried to prevent them from running off." "What? It's just me against three of them. Even if I tried, they could have easily slipped away," Matt explained, trying to justify his inaction. Kyle sighed, "Such a missed chance. I was so eager to ask them if working on that project together sparked any feelings among them." This comment made Matt and the others recall that Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity indeed collaborated on a project that seemed to have romantic undertones, fueled by various photos circulating of Lucas kissing either Jennifer or Felicity. "Damn, I forgot to ask them about the movie they're in," Matt suddenly realized, his voice laced with regret. "Really? You had Lucas and his co-stars right there, and you forgot to ask about the movie they're all in?" Kyle couldn't help but be somewhat astonished. "Well, I did ask them a few questions about their personal lives, but then my entire focus shifted to Lucas. After all, he's an actor whose fame has skyrocketed in just a year or two," Matt admitted, sounding a bit rueful. The other paparazzi just gave Matt a look, clearly thinking that had they been the first to encounter Lucas with the actresses, they wouldn't have missed the chance to inquire about the movie project. After all, it was still a hot topic of controversy, especially with those photos of Lucas kissing his co-stars floating around. Even though it's been half a year since those images surfaced, social media was still abuzz with speculation. Were those kisses just part of a movie project, or was there something more to Lucas's relationships with these young and beautiful actresses? Meanwhile, Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity had successfully evaded the prying eyes of the paparazzi. As they caught a taxi to escape, Jennifer and Felicity noticed the silhouette of a few men with cameras slung around their necks running in their direction, just moments before they made their getaway. Their hearts pounded from the adrenaline rush of running, fleeing from the intrusive paparazzi. At the same time, they were relieved and grateful that Lucas had quickly spotted the paparazzi before they could get any closer. "Ha, that was actually kind of thrilling," Felicity managed to say, a bit out of breath from their escape. "Ha, it definitely had its moments of fun," but if they had caught up to us, I bet they would have gone to extremes to stop us, maybe even daring to block a taxi just to get us to stay their nuts, Jennifer said, unable to hide her astonishment at the lengths the paparazzi might go. Lucas and Felicity shared a quiet chuckle. They hadn't yet felt the full force of paparazzi attention since they weren't widely recognized, but they were well aware of the paparazzi's notorious persistence to unearth any snippet of an actor's life. Thankfully, they managed to evade any complications this time, with Lucas ensuring both women were safely returned to their hotel before he headed back to his own apartment. On January 11, 2011, Jennifer made an appearance at the NBR 2011 Awards, while Felicity also departed New York. By January 13, news outlets buzzed with stories of Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity spending time together, including a picnic in Central Park. A misleading headline on a news website, coupled with a photo of Lucas with Jennifer and Felicity, sparked a significant amount of interest and clicks, propelling the story across social media platforms like Yahoo and Twitter. The reactions on Yahoo and Twitter to the image of Lucas with actresses like Jennifer Lawrence and Felicity Jones were mixed. While some users were excited at the prospect of a new celebrity relationship, others expressed skepticism, especially after Lucas and the actresses clarified that they were just friends. Despite their statements, both journalists and social media users harbored doubts. Some speculated about the nature of their relationship, hinting at something more than friendship, while others debated the authenticity of their declarations. The conversation swirled with speculation, skepticism, and intrigue, as people dissected every detail of the news footage and their public statements, demonstrating the public's insatiable curiosity about celebrities' personal lives. On platforms like Yahoo and Twitter, users are buzzing with gossip about Lucas allegedly being involved with the two young and beautiful actresses. In the Yahoo forums, threads regarding the latest news regarding Lucas also gain attention, since there are few news regarding Lucas, despite his rising fame in the Hollywood. Jacksond, did you see that pic of Lucas with Jennifer and Felicity? They look so cozy together. Stevenson Chu, yeah, but are they really just friends? Seems suspicious to me. Clay Yahoo, I don't know, they could just be hanging out. People read too much into these things. On Twitter, discussions about Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity's outing have exploded, with the hashtag #LucasNight soaring to the top 10 trending list. Jason Ball, Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity spotted together in Central Park. Are they more than just friends? #LucasNight gossip. Rolling Stone, Lucas is denying any romantic involvement, but the pics tell a different story. #LucasNight Inception 127 hours. MathAlgebra_official, let them live their lives. Maybe they're just enjoying each other's company. Leave them alone. Variety, despite their claims of friendship, the recent photos of Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity have raised eyebrows among fans and media alike. Is there more to this trio's relationship than meets the eye? The Hollywood Reporter, the timing of their public outing, combined with the intimate nature of the photos, certainly leaves room for speculation. Could this be a case of Hollywood romance in the making, or simply a platonic hangout? New York Times, while Lucas and the actresses maintain that they're just friends, the lingering doubts and scrutiny from fans suggest otherwise. It's a classic case of he said, she said, but the truth may be more elusive than it seems. John Doe 82, Lucas living the dream with Jennifer and Felicity face with tears of joy. Threesome. Mim Master 24, Lucas out here living his best life with two gorgeous ladies by his side. Goals threesome. Lucas Night. Brooklyn_beard, props to Lucas for juggling Jennifer and Felicity. Player threesome. Lucas Night. On Twitter, some users, particularly men, are admiring Lucas for allegedly being involved with two beautiful women at the same time, with a touch of humor. Chapter 193, Sudden Shift in Netizens' Opinion. It has already been a few days, and the hashtag #LucasNight soared to the top 5 trends on Twitter in the USA, drawing a barrage of criticism and mixed reactions towards Lucas. However, the tide of harsh comments halted when new photos of Lucas emerged online, showing him bald and with a frail appearance. The photos were shared by a nurse from Bellevue Hospital, where Lucas had been visiting children in the cancer ward alongside Liza. The nurse, using the username Ian_Cruz, initially hesitated to post the pictures. I was initially against sharing these photos of Lucas Night. They were meant to be private, shared only among my colleagues, in order to protect Lucas. After all, he's a regular visitor to the hospital. But with the media attacking him, I felt compelled to share what I captured months ago. Yes, the bald and seemingly unwell man in these photos is indeed Lucas Knight. I can't speculate on his health, but from my years of nursing experience, his appearance suggests he might be battling cancer and possibly undergoing chemotherapy. Criticizing someone who is fighting an illness is shameful. Number Lucas Knight. Following the nurse's revelation, coupled with the poignant images of Lucas looking weak and scarcely recognizable, the narrative around him shifted dramatically. Another nurse from Bellevue Hospital shared their perspective online, adding to the evolving narrative about Lucas Knight. While I don't know Lucas Knight personally, his actions speak volumes about his character. He frequently visits the cancer ward to spend time with the children, bringing them joy with his presence, and generously donates toys and funds. Such a kind-hearted individual doesn't deserve the harsh criticism he's been facing. This additional insight prompted many of Lucas's critics to reconsider their stance, while also shocking numerous fans and netizens who were unaware of the young actor's serious health condition. Amidst the shifting public sentiment, one user revisited the picnic photos of Lucas with Jennifer and Felicity, speculating, was Lucas Knight wearing a wig in these photos? Lucas's fanbase rallied around him, with messages of support flooding social media. "Let's pray for Lucas Knight," became a common refrain among his supporters, reflecting a community coming together in concern for his well-being. The conversation on social media took a turn, with many expressing sympathy and support for Lucas amidst his apparent health struggles. The emergence of these new photos showing Lucas in a vulnerable state quickly overshadowed the previous controversy. Media outlets seized on the public's heightened interest, prominently featuring stories about Lucas's apparent health struggle across news platforms and social media, further shifting the narrative from scandal to sympathy. The poignant images of Lucas looking bald and unwell quickly captured the public's attention, overshadowing any previous controversies. The stark revelation concerning the health of a promising young actor elicited a wide array of emotions from the public, including shock, concern, pity, and even some unwarranted gloating. Amidst this whirlwind of reactions, the narrative around Lucas shifted significantly. As the images spread, the hashtag #LucasKnight climbed to the top 3 trends on Twitter within hours, reflecting the immense public interest and concern for Lucas's well-being. The initial wave of criticism and envy that Lucas faced was quickly replaced with sympathy and support. Fans, moved by the situation, expressed their worry and sadness openly, with some even shedding tears over the news. What's amusing is how quickly his critics became sympathizers, with many of them even deleting their previous negative posts in an instant. In response to the growing concern, many attempted to reach out to Lucas for confirmation of his health status. However, Lucas was known for his absence from social media, making direct communication impossible. Journalists and curious individuals turned to more traditional methods to seek updates, with some going as far as visiting his New York apartment, only to find him absent. Media attempts to get comments from Lucas's agent and manager were met with silence or non-committal responses, leaving the public in suspense and increasing the speculation and concern for Lucas's health and privacy. Meanwhile, Lucas received a call from his friend Paul, who expressed concern for his well-being. Lucas quickly put his mind at ease, assuring him that he was fine. Felicity, unaware of the story behind Lucas's bald look, also reached out. Lucas offered reassurance to her and to the handful of other friends who contacted him to check in. Among those reaching out were industry acquaintances Lucas had made connections with, such as Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hiddleston, Danny Boyle, and various crew members like stunt actors, people he had exchanged phone numbers with during his career. Lucas was in Park City, Utah, with Neil, for his second appearance at the Sundance Film Festival. What took him by surprise was that he remained a hot topic on Twitter days later. He had braced himself for potential backlash, especially for his provocative photo gesturing rudely at the paparazzi, flanked by Jennifer and Felicity. Lucas was even prepared to field controversial questions from interviewers at Sundance. However, he hadn't anticipated how quickly public sentiment would shift in his favor, largely due to the widespread reaction to his appearance bald and seemingly unwell, a look he adopted for his role as Adam, demonstrating his dedication to his craft. Lucas sought advice on his current predicament from his agent, Vincent, and his manager, Neil. Both recommended letting the rumors about his health continue to swirl to maintain public interest. Initially, Lucas was opposed to this strategy, even contemplating starting a Twitter account to clarify that he was, in fact, healthy. However, Vincent and Neil advised against this, suggesting Lucas remain silent. Their rationale was that Lucas trending on Twitter and Yahoo could ultimately yield positive outcomes, potentially serving as a promotional springboard for the film 50/50, despite its release not being anytime soon. They argued that even if the immediate buzz around Lucas's health subsided after he clarified the nature of his appearance was for a role, the initial surge of interest in 50/50ths mentioned in Lucas's IMDb profile would have already generated significant curiosity. This strategy envisioned leveraging the initial trends and discussions around Lucas's appearance. When the moment was right to market 50/50ths through trailers and promotional materials, the earlier buzz could be reignited, using Lucas's striking images to bolster the film's promotion further. This approach, they believed, could intertwine Lucas's current visibility with strategic marketing for 50/50, ensuring sustained interest in the project. Chapter 194, Beef. Before Sundance 2011 kicks off, Neil has been mingling with the fashion elite in the city, showcasing his knack for networking. He's successfully piqued the interest of several influential fashion designers keen on crafting Lucas's ensemble for the Sundance red carpet. As Lucas's career portfolio expands and his star continues to rise, the difference from the past is stark. Gone are the days when finding someone to dress him was a challenge. Now, several designers in the city are eagerly awaiting the opportunity to create bespoke attire for him for the upcoming event. In a cozy cafe amidst the chill of the city, Lucas and Neil warmed themselves with cups of coffee. Over the steaming brew, Neil shared, "Lucas, I've been in touch with a few designers here who are interested in dressing you. I've arranged for you to meet each of them today, the schedule's all set." Lucas, taken aback by Neil's initiative to reach out to multiple designers when he only needed one, couldn't help but express his surprise. "I'm hardly a superstar, and yet you've lined up several designers in just one day? Are you planning to assemble a whole team for me?" he asked, half in jest. Neil laughed, playing along, "Why not? If you like what all of them bring to the table, we could indeed form your very own design squad." Shaking his head with a smile, Lucas responded, "That sounds like a luxury I can't afford just yet." Neil chuckled at Lucas's modesty, "You're being too humble, especially after I've secured you an $800,000 contract for the Hunger Games project, not to mention your album that's raked in millions." Lucas smiled, shaking his head in amusement, "I'm not about to splurge on a design team just for my wardrobe when having one designer will suffice, right? The outcome wouldn't be drastically different." He thought back to celebrities in his previous life who had their own fleets of designers, yet often ended up in eccentric, outlandish outfits. These attempts at standing out sometimes made them look more like fashion experiments gone wrong than style icons. Lucas couldn't help but find humor in the thought, and he couldn't help but mused in his head, some of those stars ended up looking more like clowns than fashionistas. It's as if they thought outlandish equaled fashionable. It always made me wonder if cosplayers might have a better sense of style than some of these so-called fashion-forward celebrities. The idea that such wacky attire is considered high fashion is laughable to me. As they continued their conversation, Neil reminded Lucas, "Ultimately, it's your money. And since we're about to meet one of the designers right here today, let's give his creations a chance. You might find something you like." Lucas agreed, and they engaged in light conversation while waiting. When the designer they were expecting arrived, Lucas was taken aback to see who it was. "Nice to meet you again, Mr. Knight. How have you been?" The designer approached with an assistant by his side. "Oh, Lucas, you've met Ms. Porter before?" Neil asked, surprised by the familiarity. Lucas, unable to conceal his discomfort, admitted, "Yes, we've met before, but it wasn't exactly a pleasant encounter." Carrie Porter laughed off the tension, eager to move past their previous altercation. "Let's leave the past behind, Mr. Knight. If I caused any offense back then, I sincerely apologize," he offered, then took a seat at their table. "In our line of work, holding on to grudges doesn't help. As a designer, it's natural to be selective about who wears our creations. We worry about our designs not getting the recognition they deserve and our reputation potentially suffering if worn by lesser-known figures, you understand." While Carrie attempted to justify his past behavior, his explanation only seemed to exacerbate Lucas's irritation. Lucas's mind flashed back to a year ago, when Carrie had bluntly scorned him for being merely an unknown actor, in his eyes a slight that obviously still stung. Noticing Lucas's troubled expression, Neil quickly stepped in to defuse the situation. "I'm sorry, Mr. Carey, but it seems my client is not comfortable working with you," he stated diplomatically. "Really?" Carey responded, his annoyance palpable. "Yes. I prefer to collaborate with designers who don't share your perspective," Lucas replied, his tone firm and direct. Carey's embarrassment was evident as he scanned the cafe, feeling the weight of the situation. With a frown, he retorted, "So, now that you've gained some fame, you feel you can dismiss me like this? Aren't my apologies enough for you?" Lucas chose to remain silent, allowing Neil to handle the conversation. "I'm very sorry, Mr. Porter. It's clear my client isn't interested." Neil's polite but firm response underscored their decision to move on, prioritizing respect and mutual appreciation in their professional relationships. Carey's response was a mix of defiance and embarrassment. "I know. Why would I want to work with someone who doesn't appreciate my expertise?" He snorted dismissively, standing up. His attempt to hide his embarrassment was thinly veiled as he glanced at Lucas and retorted, "Humph. So full of yourself just because you're in the spotlight? I doubt anyone will remember you in a few months." With that, he turned his back to Lucas and Neil, signaling to his assistant, "Let's go." As Carey departed, making a swift exit without further drama likely too embarrassed to cause a scene, Neil turned to Lucas with an apologetic look. "I'm sorry, Lucas. I had no idea about your past run-in with that designer. I wouldn't have arranged this meeting had I known," he said. "It's okay," Lucas replied, shaking his head. "I'd rather not associate with designers of that sort." Neil nodded in understanding. "Unfortunately, the industry does have its share of difficult personalities, but not everyone is like that. Let's see what the other designers I've lined up for you have to offer," he suggested optimistically. Lucas agreed, and they proceeded to meet with the other designers Neil had arranged. After a series of meetings, they finally decided on a designer from Armani. The Armani designs presented Lucas with a range of sophisticated and stylish men's clothing options, garments Lucas had only dreamed of wearing in his past life. It was a moment of affirmation, not just of his rising status in the entertainment industry, but also of his personal growth and the positive direction in which his career was headed. Chapter 195, Sundance Opening Night Gala. As the sun set over Park City, the Sundance Film Festival's opening night gala kicked off, drawing crowds who had been eagerly anticipating this moment. Alongside the red carpet, fans craned their necks, hoping to catch a glimpse of certain stars who stood out even among those just beginning to make their mark in the industry. Yet, the buzz was fueled by more than just celebrity sightings. Visitors had flocked to the city with one main goal: to immerse themselves in the world of film, eager to discover both hidden gems and perhaps some less stellar offerings of the festival. However, the allure of Sundance isn't solely based on small and independent projects. The festival also showcases larger films, attracting even more attendees. Well-known actors who also attend the Sundance Opening Night Gala, turning the event into a star-studded affair. Notables such as Al Pacino, who came to promote the premiere of The Son of No One, Terrence Howard for The Ledge, Don Cheadle for The Guard, among others, are part of this luminary lineup. These celebrated actors didn't just walk the red carpet, they engaged with interviews and mingled with others from the entertainment world inside the venue, setting the stage for a night of connection and celebration before the official proceedings began. The red carpet at the Sundance Opening Gala buzzed with excitement for the A-list celebrities in attendance, yet the actors featured in the festival's competition lineup received a more subdued reception. However, an exception was made for Lucas Knight, a standout in the film Like Crazy, which is part of the Sundance competition lineup. As Lucas made his appearance on the red carpet, he was impeccably dressed in Armani, a choice that perfectly balanced elegance with the chilly weather of Park City. He donned a tailored charcoal grey Armani suit, complemented by a crisp white shirt that was both stylish and weather-appropriate. The suit was accented with a subtle, dark wool scarf that added an extra layer of sophistication and warmth, along with leather gloves held casually in one hand. His footwear was a pair of sleek, black leather shoes, polished to perfection. The crowd's response to Lucas was unlike any he had experienced at his first Sundance appearance. Recognizing him immediately, his dedicated fans having learned from his IMDb profile about Like Crazy's inclusion in the Sundance competition lineups erupted in cheers. Approximately 2,000 fans had traveled from various states across the USA to Park City, solely to support him. This overwhelming show of support ensured that even those in the crowd who were not previously familiar with Lucas Knight would take notice. His presence, backed by the passionate cheers of his fans, made him a figure impossible to overlook at the gala. As Lucas Knight made his way down the red carpet, a chorus of cheers rose from the crowd, with many voices weaving together to call out his name. Amidst the excitement, a different kind of shout could be heard, heartfelt calls of "Get well soon." The reason behind these particular shouts expressions of concern like "Get well soon" and "Just fight, we're praying for you." stemmed from a rumor that had recently taken Twitter by storm, suggesting that Lucas was battling cancer. Lucas responded to these comments with a wry chuckle, a gesture that acknowledged the situation with a mix of humor and gratitude. Then, something caught his eye: fans holding aloft an album titled Night, or tapes of movies like 127 Hours and Inception. Drawn to these displays of support, Lucas moved closer to those fans, who were already armed with pens, eager for an autograph. "Lucas! Lucas! Here! Please sign here!" A young woman called out from beside the barrier, presenting him with a tape and offering him a pen. She was not alone in her request. All around her, others shouted, vying for Lucas's attention, hoping that their album or tape would be the next to receive his signature. Lucas accepted the pen from the young woman, poised to sign the tapes of 127 Hours and Inception. He paused, pen hovering over the 127 Hours tape, and asked the young woman, "Here?" seeking confirmation on where she'd like his signature. The young woman nodded, her excitement palpable as she watched Lucas prepare to sign the tapes. With her enthusiastic nod, Lucas proceeded to sign the 127 Hours tape first, then moved on to the Inception tape, featuring him as Arthur on the front cover. He carefully signed each, making sure his autograph was perfectly placed for the fan. Before Lucas could turn his attention to the next eager fan, the young woman, holding on to him gently, voiced her concern. "Are you doing fine?" she asked, her worry evident in her tone. Lucas offered her a wry smile and reassuringly said, "Of course, I am," before moving on to greet the next fan. However, witnessing the young woman's brief moment of physical connection with Lucas, other fans in front of the stanchion grew more determined to reach out to him. The situation escalated slightly as fans became a bit more physical in their attempts to touch Lucas, leading to a mild commotion until security stepped in to manage the crowd after Lucas had signed a few more tapes and albums. This unexpected flurry of activity caught the attention of celebrities and journalists alike, who were conducting interviews nearby. Even amidst the busy backdrop of the red carpet, heads turned toward the source of the disturbance, surprised by the commotion surrounding one actor, a rarity at the usually more subdued Sundance crowd. In the midst of it all, the legendary Al Pacino, in the middle of an interview, couldn't help but notice the lively scene unfolding. "Well, it's certainly getting lively here at Sundance," he remarked, before pointing towards Lucas and querying his interviewer, "Do you know who that is?" The middle-aged journalist, sharing in the moment, chuckled softly before responding, "That's the young actor who's been stirring up quite a bit of controversy on social media lately." Al Pacino responded with a mockingly amused tone, "Ah, controversy and talent hand in hand. That young man is stirring up more than just social media, it seems." Chapter 196, Rapid-Fire Interviews. As Lucas made his way down the red carpet, the recent encounters with overly enthusiastic fans were still vivid in his mind. Amid the sea of celebrities gathered against the dazzling backdrop, his eyes found Drake Doremus, the acclaimed director of Like Crazy. Approaching him, the two engaged in a lively conversation, soon finding themselves sharing insights with a journalist. Being a highlight of the Sundance competition lineup, Doremus' film had earned him an invitation to the Sundance Opening Night Gala, a prestigious event that naturally attracted stars like Jennifer Lawrence, Felicity Jones, and Charlie Bewley. As they gracefully made their entrance, Lucas caught sight of Jennifer and Felicity near the backdrop and warmly greeted them, enveloped by the gala's vibrant atmosphere. As Lucas shared a brief hug with Jennifer and Felicity, their warm interaction didn't go unnoticed by the sharp-eyed journalists present. Representatives from The Hollywood Reporter and Vanity Fair, who were already engaged in interviewing the cast and director of Like Crazy, saw an enticing opportunity to direct their attention towards Lucas. Recognizing the potential buzz the trio could generate on social media, they were keen not only to delve into Lucas's professional endeavors but also to probe into more personal matters. This interest was further piqued by the recent surge in social media attention around Lucas, fueled by rumors of his health concerns, which had propelled the hashtag #LucasNight to the top of Twitter's trending topics. Having concluded their discussions about Like Crazy, the journalists shifted their focus to Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity, banking on the public's fascination with the trio. Despite their relatively recent emergence on the Hollywood scene and their youth, with Lucas and Jennifer being of similar age, and Felicity being slightly older at 27, their interactions were of considerable interest to the media and fans alike. A journalist from The Hollywood Reporter seized the moment to inquire about the nature of their relationship, highlighting their recent sighting together in New York. "Lucas, your association with these two talented ladies, Jennifer and Felicity, has become quite the topic of conversation on social media. After being spotted together in New York, many are curious about the dynamics of your relationship. Can you shed some light on how you three are connected? The question, loaded with anticipation, hung in the air as Lucas glanced at Jennifer and Felicity, preparing to navigate the curiosity surrounding their friendship. Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity found themselves in a moment that seemed to blur the lines between their personal lives and public personas. As Drake offered Lucas a supportive pat on the back with a good-natured good luck before heading into the gala, and Charlie followed with an envious glance, the trio was left to address the swirling rumors and speculations head-on. Lucas, facing the barrage of questions with a mix of humor and resignation, sought to clarify the nature of their bond. "Well, the relationship I have with these two ladies here is purely a normal friendship. Nothing more." His response, sincere and straightforward, aimed to set the record straight, yet skepticism lingered in the air. A journalist, probing deeper with a hint of disbelief, challenged the plausibility of such a friendship in Hollywood's glare. Is it really possible for a handsome actor to have two beautiful actresses just as his friends? In Hollywood? That sounds impossible. Laughing off the incredulity, Lucas responded with a light-hearted acknowledgement of Hollywood's complex reputation, affirming, "I know Hollywood doesn't always seem the most straightforward place, but yes." He turned to Jennifer and Felicity, reinforcing his point, "These two are just my lovely friends." Jennifer, seizing the opportunity to redirect the focus, spoke up. She clarified the context of the photos that had fueled the rumors, tying them back to their professional collaboration. "Yes, in fact, the pictures circulating, including those of Lucas kissing us, are just part of the film project. That film is Like Crazy, which will be screened at this year's Sundance, and it's the project we're all here to promote. Both Felicity and I are part of this film alongside Lucas." Her explanation, delivered with professionalism, aimed to steer the conversation back to their work and the upcoming screening. Felicity chimed in as well, addressing the journalists' questions. Despite the actors' honesty, it was clear the journalists were tempted to stir controversy around the trio, a tactic that often proved popular with the public. However, the conversation soon veered towards Lucas alone, focusing on his recent prominence on social media. "Lucas, you've recently become the #1 trending topic on Twitter. Aside from the controversial photos with Jennifer and Felicity in New York, there have been other rumors and photos circulating that have propelled the hashtag #LucasNight, particularly concerning your health. How do you respond to these rumors?" asked a journalist from Vanity Fair. Jennifer and Felicity looked at Lucas, curious about his reply. "Are you referring to rumors that I have cancer?" Lucas asked, his tone light, almost amused. Upon seeing the journalist's nod, he clarified, "Well, I can assure you that I'm perfectly healthy. I'm doing very well." Another journalist, this time from Fox, pressed further, "Then how do you explain the photos of you with a shaved head and appearing quite unhealthy that have been circulating on social media?" Lucas laughed softly, his demeanor calm. "Ah, those photos. That appearance was for a role in an indie film. I guess I was so committed to the character that it came across quite convincingly." "So, it was just the result of your dedication to a role in an indie film?" prodded a journalist from Entertainment Weekly. "Exactly," Lucas confirmed with a nod, his response aiming to dispel the rumors and clarify that his drastic appearance was purely the result of his commitment to his craft. As the interview progressed, the journalists gradually came to understand the reason behind Lucas's drastic change in appearance. His dedication to a film role had led him to adopt a look that was far from his natural state, appearing thin and bald. With Lucas now in front of them, fully recovered and looking healthy, it was clear that the photos circulating on the internet were from a few months prior. After Lucas clarified the situation, curiosity about the indie film he mentioned piqued among the journalists. They probed for more details, hoping to glean some insights or exclusive information. However, Lucas remained somewhat elusive, offering only vague responses about the project. Despite their inability to extract detailed information about the indie film, the journalists felt a sense of satisfaction. They were among the first to understand the true context behind the concerning images of Lucas that had sparked widespread speculation. Eager to share their findings with the public, the journalists prepared to report on Lucas's commitment to his role and his current state of health. This clarification not only dispelled the rumors but also showcased Lucas's dedication to his craft, a narrative they were keen to present to their audiences. As the flurry of interviews concluded, Lucas, Jennifer, and Felicity made their way into the venue, marking the beginning of the Sundance Film Festival's eagerly anticipated event. The gala was a vibrant assembly of talent and creativity, with speakers taking the stage to share their passion for film, setting an inspiring tone for the evening. Amid the excitement, Lucas had the opportunity to mingle with other celebrities. He was particularly thrilled at the prospect of meeting Al Pacino, an actor he had long admired. However, Lucas sensed a certain coldness from the venerable actor, a realization that left him puzzled and somewhat disappointed. Despite this, the atmosphere of the event was electric, filled with the buzz of discussions about cinema and the exchange of ideas among creative minds. The presence of representatives from major Hollywood studios such as Lionsgate, Paramount, and Sony Pictures added a layer of anticipation to the proceedings. These industry heavyweights were on the lookout for indie films that showed promise for wider distribution, underscoring the festival's significance as a launching pad for emerging talent and groundbreaking work. This year's Sundance Film Festival felt bigger and more exhilarating than ever before. The array of films in competition, coupled with the optimism of studio representatives keen on discovering the next big hit, created a palpable sense of excitement. It was clear that everyone present, from the filmmakers to the attendees and the studio executives, was eager to witness the unfolding of cinematic history, making this edition of Sundance an unforgettable experience for all involved. Chapter 197, Like Crazy Screening. The Sundance opening night gala kicked off with warm welcome speeches from festival officials, sponsors, and dignitaries, setting the tone for an evening of celebration. As the formalities concluded, attendees were treated to a lavish gala dinner, complete with exquisite food and drinks, creating the perfect setting for mingling, networking, and celebrating the festival's kickoff. The festivities continued with post-reception parties thrown by studios and distributors, offering even more opportunities for attendees to connect and enjoy the night. Amidst the fun, there were photo booths capturing memorable moments. Lucas, alongside his co-stars Jennifer and Felicity, as well as director Drake and Charlie Bewley, seized the chance to snap a few memorable pictures together. As the evening progressed, the Sundance opening night gala wound down, concluding without any dramatic twists. Despite the ongoing receptions hosted by studios and distributors, Lucas, his co-stars Jennifer and Felicity, and director Drake decided to step out into the night, marking the end of their gala experience but just the beginning of the festival's array of events. They hopped into a car, bound for the hotel. "Ugh, those drinks at the gala got me a bit tipsy," Jennifer confessed, her hand flying to her mouth. Lucas couldn't help but laugh. "Given how quickly you were downing them, I'm not surprised you're feeling it," he observed, noting Jennifer's flushed cheeks. "What do you mean, quickly? I was sipping them at a snail's pace, thank you very much," Jennifer shot back, a hint of defiance in her tone. "Jen, even a snail's pace was too fast for those drinks." The gala served some top-shelf stuff California Cabernets mixed with French Bordeaux. "It packs a punch if you're not careful," Felicity chimed in, gently patting Jennifer on the back in comfort. Indeed, the gala's selection was potent, a blend of California Cabernets with French Bordeaux, capable of swiftly inebriating those unaccustomed to its strength. The combination of the moving car and the alcohol left Jennifer feeling increasingly dizzy, the effects of the night beginning to weigh on her. On January 21, 2011, the festival kicked off with an opening screening featuring a film from each competition category, including Sing Your Song, Pariah, The Guard, Project NIM, and Shorts Program I. Lucas and Jennifer decided to watch the opening films together. To avoid drawing attention, they both donned caps. Lucas, underestimating his burgeoning fame, initially went without one and quickly found himself overwhelmed by fans in Park City. They swarmed him, clamoring for photos and autographs, much to his surprise. While Lucas didn't mind the attention, things took an uncomfortable turn when the enthusiasm became too physical, leaving him with a scratch on his face from a fan's sharp nails in the frenzy to reach him. During their time at the theater, Lucas and Jennifer settled in to watch Sing Your Song. They noted that the audience was sparse, composed of a few couples and critics there to review the documentary. As the film unfolded over the hour, Lucas found himself unexpectedly moved, the documentary striking an emotional chord with him. "It's so inspirational," Jennifer whispered to Lucas, clearly moved. Lucas agreed, "Yeah. It's amazing." Even though he was known as an actor and a singer, he managed to impact the world in so many other ways. Both actors, Lucas and Jennifer, found themselves deeply inspired by Harry Belafonte's life story. "It's a shame this film hasn't gotten the recognition it deserves," Lucas remarked with a sigh. "I think it's because documentaries just aren't as popular these days," Jennifer added, sharing in the sentiment. On January 22, 2011, anticipation buzzed in the air for the screening of Like Crazy. The premiere saw the cast, including Lucas, Jennifer, Felicity, Charlie, and others, alongside director Drake, making their way down the red carpet. Amidst flashes and interviews, journalists probed about the cast's chemistry and their experiences working together, capturing the excitement of the moment. Finally, the cast and the audience made their way into the theater. Among those filling the seats were numerous fans of Lucas, present to show their support. The theater buzzed with anticipation, its seats taken by audience members ranging from film enthusiasts to notable critics, including Kenneth Turan from the Los Angeles Times. Kenneth had previously been impressed by Lucas's performance in 127 Hours, a film that showcased a depth and intensity he found remarkable. He had also seen Lucas in the blockbuster Inception, where, despite Lucas's strong portrayal of Arthur, he didn't find the performance as impactful. To Kenneth, Arthur's character lacked the relatability he found in Lucas's role in 127 Hours, possibly because Inception ventured into the realm of fantasy, straying from the realism that had resonated with him before. With Like Crazy about to start, Kenneth found himself hopeful. He was eager to see if Lucas would match or even surpass the compelling performance he had delivered in 127 Hours. As the audience settled into their seats, the chatter dimmed, and the theater lights dimmed, giving way to the anticipation of the film's beginning. The screen flickered to life, drawing everyone's attention to the unfolding story. As the film began, the audience's attention was immediately captured by the opening scene set in a classroom. Felicity, playing the role of a teacher, was discussing the evolution of publishing, tracing the journey from print to digital platforms like MySpace. The camera then shifted, revealing a young man holding a paper, his gaze fixed intently on the woman speaking at the front. Lucas's fans, recognizing him even with his hair dyed for the role, struggled to contain their excitement. Particularly the young women in the audience, who were captivated by Lucas's nuanced expressions on screen, barely held back their shrieks of delight. Lucas's eyes sparkled with a mixture of curiosity and fascination as he watched Felicity's character, a detail that did not go unnoticed. The men in the audience found themselves relating to Lucas's brief but expressive glance. It felt familiar, like seeing a crush in school, evoking a mix of nostalgia and empathy for the character's situation. The camera's focus on Lucas was brief, yet in those few seconds, the scene shifted, capturing a subtle yet significant exchange. The young woman, portrayed by Felicity, confidently tells the young man, "I don't need to give you mine because I've already done it." His response, "Well, I'm okay with that," was simple, but the intensity in his gaze left no doubt about his feelings for her. The young woman appeared slightly taken aback, perhaps shy under his earnest gaze, as she quickly said, "If there's nothing else, I'll be on my way." "All right," he replied, his eyes lingering on her as she left the classroom. The camera stayed with him, his expression one of curiosity and a palpable sense of longing. The audience was wrapped in the moment, the emotion so tangible that couples in the audience whispered to each other, feeling the stirrings of love depicted on screen. "I think he's fallen in love, right?" A young black woman whispered to her partner, her voice carrying a playful note. "Yeah. I can see myself in him when I first saw you," her partner whispered back, a sense of nostalgia and warmth in his voice. "Oh, you," she murmured, touched and slightly teasing, nudging her partner affectionately. Chapter 198, Like Crazy Screening 2. As the film progressed, the audience was gradually introduced to Felicity as Anna and Lucas as Jacob. Their characters had not yet entered into a relationship, but the audience was becoming familiar with them. The current scene, set in a bustling bar where Jacob worked, captivated the viewers. In that lively bar, Anna found herself sipping wine, her eyes transfixed on Jacob as he prepared to take the stage. As Lucas and the band strummed the opening chords on stage, a wave of anticipation rippled through the audience. The haunting melody piqued their curiosity, leaving them eager for more. Initially, the audience suspected the film might gloss over Jacob's musical performance. However, to their mild surprise, the scene seamlessly transitioned into his song. With the opening lines, "Look at the stars," Jacob's voice filled the room, "Look how they shine for you, and everything you do." The bar scene mirrored the audience's reaction, the chatter and laughter faded into a hushed silence, as everyone's attention was drawn to Jacob's performance. Astonishment was clear in Anna's eyes, a sentiment mirrored by the audience as they were pleasantly surprised to discover the film included an actual song performance. As the scene unfolded, Jacob's voice carried on, "Yeah, and they were all yellow," he sang, his devotion to Anna palpable in every note. "I came along, I wrote a song for you, and all the things you do." His gaze locked on hers, while the band's music amplified the emotion of his words. The audience was captivated, absorbed in the moment. The song's intimacy even drew some couples closer, their connection deepening as they listened until the end. The lyric "Look how they shine for you" lingered in the air, touching everyone's heart. Davy Parks, representing Sony Pictures, was visibly moved by the performance. Having watched the film, he was already interested in its romantic storyline, appreciating the actors' performances, especially Lucas's. Yet, the inclusion of a musical piece was an unexpected delight. This element of surprise, coupled with the film's quality, significantly piqued his interest in acquiring it. Honestly, Davy was so captivated by Lucas's performance that he considered acquiring the film even if it hadn't met all his expectations. The song alone had struck a chord with him, showcasing potential that could shine independently of the film's overall quality. The idea of securing the rights to the film for the song's sake was an enticing proposition. It wasn't just Davy from Sony Pictures who felt this way. Representatives from other major distributors like Paramount, HBO, and Lionsgate also found their interest in Like Crazy significantly heightened by Lucas's song. This single performance had the power to elevate the film's appeal across the board. After Lucas's heartfelt song, a young blonde woman in the bar couldn't contain her admiration. "Wow, what a beautiful song!" she exclaimed, her voice piercing through the bar's ambient noise, leading to a round of applause for Jacob's performance. The camera then panned to the young woman who had shouted, revealing her to be Jennifer, a member of the film's cast. Her genuine reaction added a layer of authenticity to the scene. Captivated by Jacob and his mesmerizing performance, Anna felt moved to express her feelings in a more personal way. She left a heartfelt letter, carefully tucked under the windshield of Jacob's motorcycle parked outside the bar. This simple act set the stage for what was to come. The narrative then unfolds with Jacob discovering the letter on his bike. As he reads it, a chuckle escapes him, clearly delighted by its contents. He immediately reaches out to Anna over the phone. The film teases the audience with a glimpse of the letter in Jacob's hands. However, due to the cursive writing and the brief exposure, compounded by Jacob's head obstructing the view, the audience is left hanging, their curiosity about the letter's contents unfulfilled. After the phone call, Jacob and Anna rendezvous at a cafe. The camera tenderly captures Anna's inquiry, "Were you scared?" Jacob's response is a simple, reassuring smile and a shake of his head. "I suppose you wouldn't be here if it had scared you," Anna observes, her smile warm, her eyes radiating deep affection towards him. Jacob meets her gaze, his smile reflecting his own affection. "No, it was actually quite nice, and unexpectedly amusing," he shares openly. "And just so you know, I don't think you're crazy." "Not in the slightest. I thought it was important to clarify that, just in case." The film then gracefully transitions into scenes of Jacob and Anna growing closer, capturing moments of them walking together and Jacob visiting Anna's apartment. Their conversation there is a whispered exchange, mindful of Anna's sleeping roommate. From the moment Anna introduced her wine to Jacob, his reaction, "It's strong," sparked a playful exchange between them. Anna, with a teasing smile, inquired, "Do you not drink much?" Jacob, mirroring her smile, confessed, "You're right." Anna's curiosity was piqued as she wondered, "How can that be, considering you work as a performer at a bar? Don't patrons often offer you drinks?" Jacob's response came with a light-hearted laugh, "Haha, just because I work in a bar and love motorbikes doesn't mean I need to drink all the time." The conversation then naturally flowed to Anna's hobby, which was writing. Initially hesitant, Anna's shyness was apparent as she decided to share her work with Jacob. "You're not allowed to laugh, okay?" she warned, a hint of vulnerability in her voice as she handed over her writing. Jacob chuckled softly, his demeanor reassuring as he made himself comfortable on the bed. "All right, I won't laugh," he promised. Anna's admission, "I've never read it out loud before," revealed her nervousness. "So, you'll be the first one to hear it," she said, her gaze meeting Jacob's, inviting him into a part of her world no one else had seen. Jacob's response was a supportive smile, full of anticipation for what Anna was about to share. "Really, you want to hear it?" Anna's voice carried a blend of excitement and vulnerability. With a decisive nod from Jacob, Anna let out a gentle laugh, then commenced her reading. "I thought I understood it," her voice was tender and clear, inviting Jacob into her inner world. "That I could grasp it, but I didn't," she continued, her words painting a vivid picture of introspection. Not really. Just the smudgeness of it. The pink-slippered, all-encompassing, semi-precious eagerness of it. I didn't realize it could sometimes be more than whole. That the idea of wholeness was actually quite luxurious. Jacob listened intently as Anna expressed, because it's the halves that have you in half. She delved further, didn't know. Don't know about the in-between bits. With a tone of revelation, she added, the gory bits of you and gory bits of me. I like the halves that have you in half. Upon finishing, Jacob's expression teetered on the edge of laughter. Like the halves that have you in half, he repeated, his smile breaking free. The audience, drawn into this intimate moment, couldn't help but chuckle along. As the film progressed, it warmed their hearts and stirred nostalgia, especially among the couples present. While some anticipated the storyline to unfold as a typical love story, the looming reality of Anna's return to England added an unexpected layer of complexity. Before her departure, Jacob had a special gift for Anna, a song. With Jacob on the guitar, the audience braced themselves for another heartfelt performance, ready to be captivated once more by the magic of music. Chapter 199, Against Audience Expectation. The audience watched with bated breath as Anna counted down, her eyes tightly closed. When she finally opened them, she found Jacob cradling a guitar, prompting her to ask, "Where's my surprise?" Jacob responded with only a smile, beginning to strum his guitar. The melody that flowed from it caught the audience off guard once again, revealing that Jacob was about to serenade them with yet another song they hadn't heard before. I met you in the dark, you lit me up. You made me feel as though I was enough. Jacob's voice imbued the lyrics with a depth of emotion that struck a chord. We danced the night away, we drank too much. I held your hair back when you were throwing up. The audience was enraptured, still reeling from Jacob's earlier song of Yellow. Now, he was unveiling another mesmerizing song. Couples in the crowd found themselves drawing closer, moved by the song's portrayal of Jacob's love for Anna. It was as if his affection was a tangible force, weaving through the notes and lyrics, leaving no one untouched by its warmth. Then you smiled over your shoulder. For a minute, I was stone-cold sober. I pulled you closer to my chest. And you asked me to stay over. I said, I already told you. I think that you should get some rest. Jacob's voice flowed smoothly, serenading, I'll wake you up with some breakfast in bed. I'll bring you coffee with a kiss on your head. He went on. And I'll take the kids to school, wave them goodbye. And I'll thank my lucky stars for that night. The melody of Jacob's singing resonated with the audience, touching their hearts. As time slipped by, his performance gracefully concluded with, I'm gonna love you till my lungs give out. I promise till death we part like in our vows. So I wrote this song for you, now everybody knows that it's just you and me till we're grey and old, just say you won't let go. Just say you won't let go. Catching a glimpse of Anna's beaming smile, Jacob was inspired to continue, just say you won't let go, oh, just say you won't let go. Had the film been playing in that moment, the audience would have been compelled to applaud Lucas's portrayal of Jacob, swept up in the emotion of the performance. Meanwhile, representatives from major distributors like Sony Pictures, Paramount, and Lionsgate found their interest in acquiring the indie film significantly heightened by its musical elements. In the movie, Anna's reaction was genuinely touching as she showed her appreciation for Jacob's gift. Following this tender moment, their affection for each other deepened, culminating in a passionate kiss. The scene was charged with passion and emotion as Jacob and Anna became completely enveloped in their own universe, their kiss a world unto itself. As the scene transitioned to Jacob and Anna intimately together in bed, some female fans, particularly those who admire Lucas, felt a twinge of jealousy towards Felicity, the actress portraying Anna. After all, she had the opportunity to kiss and be close to the attractive actor. However, as the story unfolded, with Anna choosing to stay with Jacob a bit longer, it led to unexpected consequences. When Anna decided to return to England after an extended stay in Los Angeles, she was deported, severing her connection with Jacob. This twist began to shift the audience's perception of the film. Initially expected to be a typical romance, it took a turn that reminded many of Blue Valentine, a film from last year's Sundance Festival. However, Like Crazy distinguished itself with its cinematography and color grading, elevating the storytelling. As time passed without contact from Anna, Jacob met Sam, portrayed by Jennifer, though he only saw her as a friend. The audience, filled with doubt about Jacob and Anna's future, was pleasantly surprised when Jacob finally heard from Anna after a long silence. The moment Jacob shared his plans to visit his girlfriend in England, it was clear from Sam's expression that jealousy had taken root, adding another layer of complexity to the unfolding drama. I couldn't help but feel a twinge of sympathy for Sam. It was clear she harbored feelings for Jacob, but his heart belonged to Anna. This sentiment echoed among some audience members, who found themselves feeling sorry for Sam's unrequited love. Jacob's reunion with Anna in England was a moment of joy for the audience, eager to see the young couple together again. However, a sense of unease crept in when, upon a knock at the door, Anna greeted a man with evident happiness, leaving Jacob to watch from a distance. The feeling of being an outsider intensified for Jacob as he accompanied Anna to a bar, observing her enjoyment with friends while he felt increasingly isolated. Despite spending some time with Anna in England, including a visit to her parents, the inevitable loomed Jacob would have to return to Los Angeles, leaving Anna behind once more. As the film unfolded, Sam's confession to Jacob marked a turning point. The audience was taken on a journey from the simple love story of Jacob and Anna to a more complex narrative involving other relationships, Anna with another man and Jacob with Sam. This tangled web of relationships cast a shadow of solemnity over the audience, particularly among the couples watching, as they contemplated the complexities of love and the pain of letting go. As the film unfolded, showing Jacob and Anna's decision to reunite, the audience witnessed the subtle yet unmistakable signs that the spark between them had dimmed. Despite Anna's successful return to Los Angeles and their attempts to reconnect, it became clear that their relationship had fundamentally changed. The magic that once ignited their romance seemed to have faded, leaving many in the audience, particularly the women, some accompanied by their partners, visibly moved to tears, seeking comfort in their significant others. Amid the emotional scene, a young woman turned to her partner, her eyes reflecting the turmoil on the screen, and whispered, "Will we end up like them?" She nodded toward Jacob and Anna, her question hanging in the air. Her partner responded gently, "It's just a movie," attempting to assuage her fears. His words seemed to offer her some reassurance, grounding her back in the reality that their love story was theirs to write, distinct from the scripted fate of Jacob and Anna. The transition from a moment of Jacob and Anna showering together to Jacob rocking the stage with his band captivated the audience. The crowd's pleas for an encore mirrored the viewers' excitement, a sentiment amplified when Anna was spotted among the audience, seemingly there to support Jacob. This glimpse sparked a wave of relief and joy through the theater. "Thank God they're still together," a young woman murmured to her boyfriend, encapsulating the collective sigh of relief from the audience. However, the film took an unexpected turn that stirred the audience's emotions anew. While initially thrilled for Jacob and Anna, the mood shifted dramatically when Anna was seen with a man named Simon, and Jacob shared a kiss with Sam on stage. The film's conclusion, revealing Jacob with Sam and Anna with Simon, elicited mixed reactions. While some viewers found satisfaction in the unexpected endings, many, particularly the couples, were left longing for a different resolution. The notion that Jacob and Anna's journey ended apart, despite their intimate moments, left a bittersweet taste. The suggestion that if the two were not to end up together, their last shared scene should have been their shower together, lingered with the audience. The intensity of the audience's feelings only deepened with the final reveal that the film was based on a true story. This added layer of realism prompted a deeper reflection on the complexities of love and relationship dynamics, leaving a lasting impression as the theater lights brightened. Chapter 200, Initial Success. As the film drew to a close, the audience, regardless of whether they were satisfied or dissatisfied with the ending, rose to their feet in applause. Kenneth Turan of the Los Angeles Times, along with other critics, initially dismissed Like Crazy as merely another film akin to Blue Valentine. However, they soon discovered that it offered a depth and intrigue surpassing that of Blue Valentine. The cast's performances were notably impressive, with Lucas, in the role of Jacob, standing out. He delivered a captivating performance, particularly with his renditions of the film's songs. Kenneth Turan admitted that the melodies Lucas performed as Jacob lingered in his mind long after the film ended, finding them irresistibly memorable. In his review, Turan expressed a predominantly positive opinion, a sentiment echoed by the majority of critics who had seen the film, though a few offered dissenting views. Another journalist who had the opportunity to see the film also started to realize that the widely circulated photographs of Lucas kissing Jennifer or Felicity were indeed authentic scenes from the movie. As the applause filled the air, Lucas exchanged warm smiles with Jennifer and Felicity. Together with the cast and director, they left the theater, stepping into the buzz of journalists from various media outlets eager for another round of interviews. Lucas, alongside his fellow cast members, fielded questions with ease, his smile never wavering. Sundance 2011 rolled on, showcasing a mix of competing and non-competing films. Amidst this cinematic feast, Like Crazy began to capture the audience's imagination, its poignant story of Jacob and Anna striking a chord. The film's acclaim peaked when it was awarded the Grand Jury Prize, sparking immediate interest among distributors present at Sundance. In a cozy cafe, Drake found himself in conversation with Davy Parks from Sony Pictures. Davy, leaning in, shared his enthusiasm. "Drake, we're really interested in acquiring Like Crazy. The buzz around it is incredible." Drake paused, stirring his coffee. "I appreciate that, Davy. But before we go any further, I need to discuss this with Lucas." Davy blinked, perplexed. "Lucas? The actor? Why would the acquisition need his approval?" Drake set his cup down, meeting Davy's gaze. "Well, Lucas isn't just the lead actor. He actually funded the film with $380,000 of his own money." Davy's eyebrows shot up, a mix of surprise and respect coloring his features. "That's impressive for such a young actor." "All right then, I understand. Take the time you need to talk it over with him." Drake excused himself from the table, stepping out of the cafe into the crisp air. He let out a sigh, a mix of relief and fatigue washing over him. The day had been a marathon of discussions with representatives from various distributors, each conversation as draining as it was exciting. He made his way to the hotel where Lucas was staying, his mind racing with the details of the offers he needed to discuss. Upon meeting Lucas, Drake wasted no time diving into the details. "Lucas, we've got some serious interest for Like Crazy. Sony Pictures, Lionsgate, and Paramount have all approached me about acquiring the film," Drake began, his voice carrying a mix of excitement and gravity. Lucas, leaning forward, asked, "What kind of offers are we talking about from each of them?" Drake nodded, pulling out a notepad with the figures scribbled down. "Sony Pictures and Paramount have put forward the most tempting offers. Sony is offering us $1 million upfront, with a commitment to a wide release. Paramount's deal is slightly different, they're offering $850,000 upfront but with a higher percentage of the back-end profits. As for Lionsgate, their offer is more conservative, at $600,000 upfront with a moderate commitment to marketing." Lucas shook his head slightly at the mention of Lionsgate's offer. "Given that we're already in for $630,000 on the budget, Lionsgate's offer doesn't cut it for us," he stated matter-of-factly. Turning his attention back to the more promising prospects, Lucas continued, "Can you try to push Sony Pictures to increase their upfront offer? I trust your judgment on this, Drake." Drake nodded, taking in Lucas's request. "I'll do my best. What are you thinking for yourself out of this deal?" Lucas leaned back, his thoughts clear. "For me, I'd be looking at an 8% profit share and $100,000 upfront. As for you and the crew, I'll leave that negotiation in your hands. See what you can work out with Sony for a fair share for the rest of us." Drake jotted down the numbers, his resolve firming. "All right, Lucas. I'll get on it. We want to make sure everyone involved feels valued for their contributions. I'll start the conversation with Sony along those lines." Lucas offered a warm smile, raising his glass in a gesture of celebration. "Drake, congratulations on the success of Like Crazy. It's really taken off, hasn't it?" Drake, with a smile mirroring Lucas's, clinked his glass against Lucas's. "Thank you, Lucas. But honestly, it's you who deserves a huge part of the credit. Without your funding, your invaluable suggestions, and your outstanding performance as Jacob, let alone those unforgettable songs, this film wouldn't have reached the heights it has." Lucas just smiled, a modest tilt of his head acknowledging Drake's words. "It was a team effort, through and through," he said, the glasses chiming softly as they toasted to the shared success. As they savored their wine, Drake glanced over at Lucas with a knowing smile. "Oh, and let's not forget your Grammy nomination for 2011. Congratulations, Lucas. That's no small feat." Lucas, his smile unfading, responded with a humble nod. "Thank you, Drake. It still feels surreal, to be honest." The Grammy nominations were unveiled in December 2010, and Lucas's nomination came as no surprise to his fans. Thanks to his album and its standout tracks, his name was already buzzing in music circles. Chapter 201, Lucas's Reminder. In Park City, film enthusiasts attended screenings of competitive films not only in Park City but also in Salt Lake City, Ogden, and Sundance, Utah. This year's Sundance Festival was quite successful, featuring notable films such as Like Crazy and Another Earth. Fans of Lucas who managed to see Like Crazy were thrilled and eagerly shared their experiences online. On Twitter, attendees from Sundance praised the film. Lucas's performance in the film was really good. His two female co-stars were also impressive. I really liked the film, especially Lucas's songs. I was so impressed that I bought tickets again for my friends so we could all enjoy Lucas's performance and his music once more. Dozens of new posts about the film Like Crazy and Lucas Night emerged on social media. Meanwhile, other fans of Lucas who were not previously aware of Like Crazy learned about the film, but they couldn't see it as it was exclusively screened at the 2011 Sundance Film Festival. At the same time, the buzz about Lucas on Twitter began to fade after media reports covered his interview at Sundance. Rumors about Lucas's relationships with Jennifer Lawrence and Felicity Jones were also put to rest by their new film at Sundance, Like Crazy, which confirmed that Lucas was just friends with both actresses. This news reassured some of Lucas's female fans who felt it was too soon for him to be in a romantic relationship, although other fans continued to support the idea of Lucas with Jennifer or Felicity. Some people even posted photos of Lucas with Jennifer or Felicity, set against romantic music. As the 2011 Sundance Film Festival was drawing to a close, Like Crazy, a grand jury prize winner, became the center of a pivotal discussion in Park City. Drake, representing the film, was deep in negotiations with Sony Pictures. Inside a quiet corner of a bustling cafe, the air was tense with anticipation. Drake leaned forward, making his case, "We're asking for $1.3 million and 13% of the box office shares." Davey, the Sony Pictures representative, rubbed his forehead, concern etching his features. "That's a significant ask, Drake. You know the risks involved for us at that amount, not to mention the marketing expenses." Recognizing the hesitation, Drake lowered his demand slightly, "How about $1.2 million then?" Davey sighed, still unconvinced. "It's still a big gamble for us." Sensing an opportunity, Drake played his ace. "Consider Lucas's involvement. His songs in the film are a major draw. He's not only a rising star as an actor but also in music. His album sales are through the roof, hundreds of thousands of units, and he's even Grammy nominated. Having him is worth the $1.2 million. He's a central character and even performs a song in the film. It's a unique selling point that's sure to attract audiences." Davey paused, mulling over Drake's points. The promise of Lucas's growing popularity was tempting, but the decision was far from simple. Davey looked thoughtful, his gaze settling on Drake with a mixture of contemplation and caution. "I need to discuss this with the Sony Pictures executives. It's a lot to consider," he admitted, his voice carrying a tone of professional hesitation. Drake nodded, his expression firm yet open. "I understand, but just so you know, other distributors are interested in acquiring Like Crazy. We might find a distributor who will accept our terms." Davey's response was prompt, reflecting the urgency of the situation. "I'll get back to you as soon as possible, Drake. I appreciate your flexibility, and I'll push for a quick decision on our end." A few days later, as the Sundance Film Festival neared its conclusion, Drake successfully secured a deal with Sony Pictures to acquire the film Like Crazy. The agreement was settled for $1.2 million and 12% of the box office shares. Drake then allocated 8% of the box office shares and $100,000 to Lucas, recognizing that Lucas's star power and musical contributions to the film were instrumental in closing the deal at such favorable terms. Lucas's recent Grammy nomination had undoubtedly swayed Sony Pictures' decision to invest heavily in Like Crazy. Meanwhile, Lucas had returned to New York, where preparations for his Grammy appearance were already underway, thanks to his manager, Neil. Neil had arranged for a designer to outfit Lucas for the prestigious event. Although Neil received several project offers from other studios, particularly for indie films interested in casting Lucas, they had to decline as Lucas's schedule was now dominated by his upcoming appearance at the 2011 Grammy Awards and Golden Globes. Of course, Lucas carefully read through the project scripts before making any decisions. Ultimately, he declined because none of the scripts ignited his passion for acting in those projects. Lucas had a busy schedule ahead. With the Grammys still weeks away, he was already committed to filming episodes for the TV series Modern Family. Shortly after, he was required on the soundstage for HBO's Game of Thrones, where he also had to voice some scenes for his character, Rob. Amid this hectic period, Lucas was kept in the loop by the production team of The Hunger Games, as they needed to coordinate schedules and updates. In his scarce downtime, Lucas caught up with Jennifer over the phone, sharing updates about their days. During one call, Jennifer mentioned meeting Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein while preparing for her role in The Hunger Games. Lucas, concerned, cautioned her, "There are rumors about that guy, you should be careful. I don't want you to end up regretting anything." Jennifer, in the workout room, couldn't help but smile at Lucas's concern. "Rumors are just rumors. He might be different in real life. I've just spoken to him, and he seemed funny and straightforward," she replied. Lucas shook his head, his tone more serious. "Just be careful, Jennifer. What he shows you might just be a facade to earn your trust and lure you into a trap." Laughing softly, Jennifer responded, "A trap? You're overthinking it, Lucas." Lucas, knowing the more severe allegations against Weinstein but unable to disclose his futuristic insights, pressed gently, "Just be careful, okay?" Acknowledging his serious tone, Jennifer agreed with a warm smile, "All right, I'll be careful." Chapter 202, Golden Globes Awards 2011 opening. Before the 2011 Grammy Awards, the Golden Globes are set to make their mark. In December 2010, just like the Grammys, the Golden Globes announced their nominees. The awards ceremony is scheduled to take place on February 4, 2011. On February 3, 2011, at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills, a host of celebrities, directors, writers, music icons, animators, influential Hollywood figures, and journalists will be in attendance. At the same time, designers will be busy dressing everyone from A-list to C-list celebrities. The area surrounding the Beverly Hilton Hotel is already buzzing with excitement, as fans gather, eager to catch a glimpse of their favorite actors. As Lucas set foot in Beverly Hills, he couldn't help but look around in awe. Despite the Beverly Hilton Hotel where the Golden Globes were set to take place being some distance away, the area was already bustling with activity. This atmosphere was distinctly different from his experiences at Sundance or the Emmys, bringing him an entirely new and refreshing feeling. On February 4, 2011, the Golden Globe Awards officially began. Journalists were already on the scene, greeting top celebrities and conducting interviews. As the stars walked the red carpet, several reporters eagerly awaited the arrival of a certain actor. This actor, though not as popular or established as others gracing the red carpet, was poised to capture significant attention at this year's Golden Globes. Notably, the young actor was nominated not only for Best Actor in a Drama Motion Picture but also for Best Original Song for his work in 2 different films. The young actor in question was Lucas Knight. His original song The Scientist from 127 Hours had garnered a nomination, as had Fix You from the blockbuster film Inception. For a young actor, receiving a nomination in one category is impressive, but being nominated twice for Best Original Song was truly remarkable. As journalists welcomed renowned celebrities such as Al Pacino, Colin Firth, Javier Bardem, Brendan Gleeson, Halle Berry, Julianne Moore, and others, the excitement along the red carpet was palpable. When Natalie Portman arrived, cheers erupted from fans who loved her performance in Black Swan. Among the crowd, fans of Lucas Knight held signs and chanted slogans, eagerly awaiting their idol's appearance. Though they were only a small percentage of the overall crowd, their enthusiasm was unmistakable, as they stood alongside fans of other major celebrities. "Lucas is always the last to show up at these events," a fan muttered impatiently as he waited for Lucas. "Yeah, it was the same at the Emmys. He's always the last one to appear. Maybe it's a strategy from his PR team or something," another fan added, nodding in agreement. While they spoke, other fans mingled and cheered along with the crowd as various well-known celebrities made their grand entrance on the red carpet. Unbeknownst to Lucas's fans, he didn't actually have a PR team orchestrating his late arrivals. In fact, Lucas was simply waiting for his rented limousine to arrive so he could head to the Golden Globes. Looking anxious, Lucas turned to his manager, Neil, and asked, "When is the limousine going to show up?" Neil, phone in hand, replied, "I'm trying to reach the driver, but he's not picking up." Just as Lucas and Neil were considering alternative transportation options, the limousine they had been waiting for finally appeared in the distance and pulled up in front of them. Seeing the limousine finally arrive, Neil flung open the driver's door and demanded, "What took you so long? We paid $1,000 for this service, you know." The driver, looking apologetic, replied, I'm sorry I ran into some trouble on the way. Neil sighed and turned to Lucas. All right, hop in, you're about to be late. Lucas nodded, but as he caught a glimpse of the driver, he exclaimed in surprise, Sean. The driver, Sean, turned back to Lucas with a look of recognition. Lucas. It's you. Neil, puzzled, looked between Lucas and Sean. You two know each other? Lucas nodded, then climbed into the limousine. Yeah, he confirmed. As he settled in, he urged, Sean, you better hurry. I can't be late for the red carpet. Sean nodded in understanding. You got it, Lucas. With that, Neil, still puzzled, watched the limousine pull away. He shook his head, a slight smile on his face, as he pondered the unexpected connection between Lucas and the driver. At the Beverly Hilton Hotel, just as Lucas's fans were starting to doubt his attendance at the 2011 Golden Globes, a limousine pulled up. To their surprise and delight, Lucas stepped out. The crowd of fans, energized by his arrival, erupted into cheers as he made his way down the red carpet. As Lucas walked down the red carpet, he noticed his fans eagerly waving items for him to autograph. Realizing that much of the crowd seemed indifferent towards him, Lucas decided to approach his fans and sign autographs, much to their delight. After engaging with them, he headed towards the media backdrop, where a swarm of journalists quickly gathered around him. The onlookers who had initially paid him little attention were now visibly surprised by the amount of media focus he was attracting. Even the celebrities at the backdrop found themselves watching as journalists flocked to Lucas, intrigued by the attention the young actor was commanding. While not every journalist rushed over to Lucas, the significant number who did made it clear that there was something special about him, sparking curiosity among everyone present. Meanwhile, journalists were eager to interview Lucas about his nominations at the 2011 Golden Globe Awards, as well as the impressive box office success of his film 127 Hours, which had grossed $102 million. Chapter 203, Start of 68th Golden Globes Awards. At the Beverly Hilton Hotel, against the backdrop of the red carpet, Lucas faced a throng of eager journalists. When asked, how does it feel to be nominated in 3 categories? Lucas responded with a beaming smile, I feel great. Lucas's nominations included Best Actor in a Motion Picture Drama for his role in 127 Hours, Best Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture for Inception, and twice for Best Original Song in a Motion Picture. Achieving such recognition was a remarkable accomplishment for an actor who had been in the industry for barely 2 years. The journalists gathered around Lucas, each eager to capture a unique angle on his rapid rise to stardom. Their questions ranged from his experiences on set to his feelings about the future. One journalist from a popular entertainment magazine probed further, Lucas, can you share what these nominations mean to you personally? Lucas smiled and said, this means a lot. It reminds me that I'm making progress in the industry, which feels incredibly fulfilling. Another journalist from a leading newspaper chimed in, with such diverse roles, how do you prepare differently for a drama compared to a sci-fi blockbuster? Lucas grinned, clearly holding back a secret. I wish I could share everything, he said, pausing slightly. Let's just say I have my own method in acting that I stick to, regardless of the genre. Lucas smiled, his expression giving away nothing about his mind workshop. A journalist then shifted the topic to his music. Given your popularity from your songs, will you focus more on acting or music? Lucas replied with a smile, I have a passion for acting, but I also enjoy making music in my spare time. Lucas continued to field questions from other journalists as the interview neared its conclusion. As the session was wrapping up, a blogger asked for his thoughts on the future. Where do you see your career heading after such a phenomenal start? Lucas answered thoughtfully, actually, I don't know. Anything can happen, honestly. I might continue to rise, or I might face challenges that could set me back. Only time will tell where my career will go. As Lucas wrapped up his conversation, the journalists turned their attention to other celebrities at the event, such as Justin Bieber and Christian Bale. Meanwhile, Lucas stood up against the red carpet backdrop, posing confidently for the photographers. Dressed in an Armani suit, Lucas exuded confidence and ease in front of the camera, a demeanor shaped by his frequent experiences at such high-profile events. After his moment on the red carpet, Lucas made his way into the venue. He found his seat at a table and noticed Andrew Garfield sitting next to him. Recognizing the young actor immediately, Lucas greeted him with a warm smile. Andrew caught sight of Lucas and a flash of recognition lit up his face. He greeted Lucas warmly and gave him a friendly pat on the back. Nice to meet you, Knight. Lucas returned the gesture, smiling. You too, Garfield. Just Andrew, Andrew corrected with a grin. Then just Lucas, Lucas replied, matching his smile. Andrew chuckled, can't believe I'm sitting beside someone as talented and popular as you. Lucas laughed softly, haha, everyone's popular here, Andrew. Honestly, next to stars like Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, Johnny Depp, and Justin Bieber, I feel pretty ordinary. Andrew nodded, smiling at Lucas's words. I guess you're right. He glanced around the room and added, feels like I'm pretty ordinary here too. Then, turning back to Lucas, he asked, do you ever get nervous at these things? A little, Lucas admitted, but I'm gradually getting used to these kinds of events. Andrew nodded, then rubbed his hands together. Good for you. I still get pretty nervous, you know. Lucas looked surprised. Haven't you gotten used to these events by now? Andrew shook his head. Never. It's always a bit overwhelming. And this time, I'm even presenting. Oh. Lucas responded, not too surprised since Andrew Garfield had been a familiar face in the industry since 2004. Seeing Lucas's curious look, Andrew explained, I'll be presenting and talking about the social network on stage. I see, Lucas nodded in understanding. Changing the subject, Andrew added, by the way, I watched your film, 127 hours. You were intense in that. Lucas smiled appreciatively. Thanks. He then looked at Andrew and added, and congrats on being cast as the new Spider-Man. Andrew responded with a modest smile. The recent announcement in December that Andrew Garfield had landed the role of the Amazing Spider-Man had stirred considerable excitement among fans of the superhero film series. As Lucas and Andrew noticed the cameras and crew of the 68th Golden Globes Awards beginning to prepare, Andrew remarked, looks like it's about to start. Soon after, the event kicked off as the camera panned across the venue. The announcer's voice boomed through the ballroom of the Beverly Hilton Hotel, live. From the star-filled International Ballroom of the Beverly Hilton Hotel, welcome to the 68th Annual Golden Globe Awards. Lucas, Andrew, and the other attendees burst into applause at the introduction, punctuated by the rousing sound of drums and the narrator's voice. And now your host for the evening, ladies and gentlemen, Ricky Gervais. Ricky Gervais then took to the stage to the sound of applause. Waving to the crowd with a smile, he approached the microphone, pausing to take a sip from a glass of beer. The cameras swept over the audience, capturing the reactions of various celebrities. Thank you, hello, and hello, Ricky began, his voice filled with his characteristic cheeky humor. Welcome to the 68th Annual Golden Globe Awards, live from the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Los Angeles. It's gonna be a night of partying and heavy drinking. The crowd responded with a mix of laughter and cheers, eagerly anticipating the rest of the evening's festivities. Chapter 204, Roasted. In the opulent ballroom of the Beverly Hilton Hotel, after Ricky Gervais remarked that the evening would be filled with partying and heavy drinking, he quipped, or as Charlie Sheen calls it, breakfast. The audience erupted in laughter as Ricky continued, wow. Whoa. Let's get this straight. What he did was, he picked up a porn star. He accentuated porn star with a gesture, paid her to have dinner with him, introduced her to his ex-wife. Ricky chuckled, adding, as you do. Ricky shrugged and said, went to a hotel. Got drunk. He then added, got naked. Ricky pointed out, trashed the place, while she was locked in the cupboard. And that was a Monday. What did he do on New Year's Eve? Some in the crowd couldn't suppress their chuckles. A few celebrities had a sense of foreboding that they might be Ricky's next targets. Lucas glanced at Johnny Depp in the distance, who was sipping his drink. Next to him, Andrew whispered, while surveying the room, man, the air's heavy here. Lucas nodded in agreement. While some groups were taking Ricky's jokes in stride, laughing along, others watched in solemn silence, their smiles seeming more like a facade. Meanwhile, others gleefully laughed at Charlie Sheen's expense. Ricky shifted the focus, announcing, anyway, welcome. He continued, the Golden Globes celebrate the best in TV and movies over the past year. Voted for by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. He added, it was a big year for 3D movies, like Toy Story. Lucas continued to watch as Ricky began introducing the nominees for animated movies and commending the three-dimensional animations. But even as Ricky praised the 3D animations, he couldn't resist another jab, except for the characters of the tourist. Upon hearing Ricky's quip, the crowd responded with a mix of groans and disapproval, clearly not all in favor of his roast. Ricky flashed a mischievous smile and said, I feel bad about that joke. Sensing their reactions were having an effect, the crowd pressed on. Ricky, however, intercepted with, No, I'll tell you what. He raised his hand and admitted, I'm jumping on the bandwagon, because I haven't even seen the tourist. The room lightened up with laughter as Ricky added, who has? This prompted a heartier laugh, and even Lucas and Andrew couldn't help but chuckle and shake their heads. But no, it must be good because it's nominated, so shut up, okay? Ricky chided the crowd. And I'd like to squash this ridiculous rumor going around. That the only reason the tourist was nominated was so the Hollywood foreign press could hang out with Johnny Depp and Angelina Jolie, Ricky joked, momentarily aligning with Hollywood. A few in the crowd cheered in response. That is rubbish. That is not the only reason. They also accepted bribes. At this unexpected joke, the crowd reacted with mixed emotions, though laughter prevailed. The camera zoomed in on Johnny Depp, who was chewing on something but sported a faint smirk. No, all that happened was some of them got tickets to see Cher in concert. How the hell is that a bribe? Really? Do you want to see Cher? Ricky paused, shaking his head, and added, no, because it's not 1975. The crowd burst into laughter. Ricky then continued to roast other films that weren't nominated, eliciting laughter and occasional boos from the crowd. Despite some rough patches, Ricky's quick wit turned the situation around, and the atmosphere lightened with humor. After that, Ricky shifted to praise various TV series and films, but not without his characteristic touch of irony. He noted, there are a few notable rising young talents here in Hollywood, nothing new, nothing special, but then there's someone who's barely been in the industry for 2 years, already nominated in 3 categories, and even the film he starred in snagged a nomination. With a chuckle, he added, unlike the questionable nomination of The Tourist. The crowd laughed again as Ricky continued, 127 Hours received a great response and was nominated. And who am I talking about? Actor Lucas Knight, who burst onto the scene with tremendous potential and a clean record. Well, except for his questionable relationships with Jennifer Lawrence and Felicity Jones, everything seems to be going well for him. The crowd laughed, appreciating Ricky's sarcasm, yet they were also impressed by how someone so new to Hollywood could make such a significant impact. Lucas merely smiled, unfazed by Ricky's jibes. Meanwhile, across the ballroom, the camera momentarily shifted to Jennifer Lawrence, nominated for her role in Winter's Bone. Just when it seemed Ricky was done teasing Lucas, having ended on a seemingly complimentary note, he surprised everyone by continuing, this time shedding the veneer of praise. On stage, Ricky shrugged and remarked, really interesting, really impressive to see a young talent rising in Hollywood. I'd be more impressed if it weren't for the fact that his father is Vince Knight of Warner Brothers. And his brother? Melvin Knight. He quickly corrected himself, I'm sorry, I mean, half-brother. The crowd laughed, but the laughter was tinged with surprise as they learned that Lucas was actually the son of an influential Hollywood director. The camera zoomed in on Lucas, who managed to keep a smile on his face despite Ricky's sharp remarks. Ricky, noticing the astonishment in the crowd, grinned and said, shocking, right? I've just given you some free intel that even the established media didn't know. The crowd erupted in laughter at Ricky's comment, amused by his subtle suggestion that the media was incompetent. What did anyone expect? Rising in Hollywood without a helping hand? That's nearly impossible. Ricky continued with a chuckle, some even have to sell their bodies for a role. Well, I'm getting off track here. As the audience's reactions to Ricky's last remark were mixed, he seamlessly introduced the next presenter, not missing the chance to playfully take a jab at Mel Gibson before announcing Scarlett Johansson. As Scarlett Johansson stepped onto the stage, at Lucas's table, several celebrities glanced his way, stirred by the revelations Ricky had just made. Lucas felt their curious eyes but chose to ignore them as he took a sip of his drink. Andrew gave him a reassuring pat on the back and asked, "You all right?" "Yeah," Lucas nodded with a smile. He had enjoyed watching other celebrities get roasted by Ricky, but it wasn't until he was the subject that he truly understood how it felt. Of course, Lucas couldn't go on stage and declare that his father had nothing to do with his success, but even if he did, he doubted many would believe him. Chapter 205, Golden Globes Conclusion. The Golden Globe ceremony progressed as Scarlett Johansson took the stage to present the first award of the evening. "I'm honored to present the first award tonight," she began. "Here are the 5 men nominated for Best Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture." Scarlett then proceeded to introduce the nominees: Christian Bale for The Fighter, Jeremy Renner for The Town, Geoffrey Rush for The King's Speech, Michael Douglas for Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps, and finally, she announced, the charming yet calm Lucas Knight from Inception. As each nominee was mentioned, the audience applauded. The camera zoomed in on Lucas Knight, showing his colleague Andrew applauding and patting him on the back, before cutting to a shot of director Christopher Nolan. "And the Golden Globe goes to..." Scarlett paused dramatically, then announced, "Christian Bale for The Fighter." The crowd erupted in applause. The ceremony moved smoothly forward, announcing each category and its winner. During a brief intermission, Andrew was seen gathering himself next to Lucas. "I'm going to be on stage next," Andrew said to Lucas. Lucas smiled and wished him good luck. A short while later, Andrew headed backstage and soon appeared on stage as a presenter. He introduced The Social Network, a film in which he had a role. However, midway through his speech, he stumbled over the word inspiringly. The audience watched as he struggled momentarily before finally pronouncing it correctly. Although visibly embarrassed, Andrew managed to feign confidence and reread the line smoothly. He even gave himself a round of applause, joined by scattered applause and cheers from the audience, to which he responded, "Thank you. I appreciate the support." The camera then cut to the director of The Social Network, who chuckled at Andrew's recovery. After his presentation, Andrew exited the stage as clips from The Social Network, nominated for Best Motion Picture, Drama, played on. The next presenters, Alec Baldwin and Jennifer Lopez, took the stage to announce the nominees and the ultimate winner for Best Original Song, Motion Picture. As clips from the films played in the background, the narrator introduced the nominees: You Haven't Seen the Last of Me from Burlesque by Cher and Diane Warren, Coming Home from Country Strong by Tom Douglas, Tom Verges and Lindsay, and There's a Place for Us from the Chronicles of Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader by Carrie Underwood, David Hodges and Hilary Lindsay. The audience applauded after each nomination was announced. Then, as the LED screen transitioned to scenes from Inception, the song Fix You began to play. The narrator then announced, Lucas Knight with Fix You from Inception. The crowd responded with their usual enthusiasm, clapping warmly. The camera captured Lucas looking around and nodding, acknowledging the applause with gratitude. The scenes then shifted to the film 127 Hours, where The Scientist performed by Lucas Knight filled the air. As Lucas appeared on the screen again, the audience applauded, but songwriters and music producers looked on with mixed feelings. Despite recognizing the song's beauty, they were skeptical about Lucas's role in composing it, especially after hearing Ricky Gervais mention that Lucas was the son of an influential director. Alec Baldwin then took the stage to announce the winner, and the Golden Globe goes to You Haven't Seen the Last of Me from Burlesque. Lucas's fans, watching from home, were surprised and disappointed, having hoped for his victory. This sentiment was compounded by a growing suspicion among viewers that the Golden Globes favored certain nominees, particularly as The Social Network won Best Original Score, Motion Picture shortly after being nominated in 3 other categories, including Best Motion Picture, Drama. As the evening progressed, more categories were announced. Attention returned to The Social Network when its director triumphed in the Best Director category, prevailing over other esteemed directors like Christopher Nolan, Danny Boyle, Darren Aronofsky, and David O. Russell. The Golden Globes continued for about an hour, with actors and actresses winning awards across various categories during the breaks. Lucas gave Andrew a pat on the shoulder and said, "Well, I'm off." "Where are you going?" Andrew asked, concerned Lucas might be upset about not winning the awards for which he was nominated. Lucas just smiled. "I'm about to go on stage to present Inception, just like you did." Hearing this, Andrew returned the gesture. "Good luck, and try not to stutter like I did." Lucas chuckled softly and headed backstage. As he walked, staff guided him through the bustling area where he spotted several familiar celebrities. He noticed Jimmy Fallon engaged in conversation with others, and then there was Ricky Gervais, who grinned upon seeing him. Lucas took a seat near Ricky. Approaching with a beer in hand, Ricky offered, "You want a drink?" Lucas smiled and politely declined, "No, thank you." Ricky nodded, acknowledging the sensitive topic. "I hope you don't mind me spilling the beans about your background like that." Lucas shook his head, dismissing the concern. It's totally fine. I knew it wouldn't stay under wraps forever. Ricky glanced around, then leaned in closer, lowering his voice. Don't you think this whole event is a bit of a sham? I'm sorry. Lucas responded, clearly taken aback. Ricky took a sip of his drink and continued, haven't you noticed? You didn't win the award despite being nominated twice for Best Original Song. And who won? Diane, with her cheesy pop song. Doesn't it seem a bit off to you? Lucas was stunned to see Ricky's candid demeanor, realizing that the beer might be loosening his tongue. Well. Ricky chuckled, unbothered. Come on, this whole thing is rigged. Who's sweeping the awards tonight? The Social Network. Seems like the Hollywood foreign press has its favorites, doesn't it? Lucas couldn't help but chuckle at Ricky's blunt remarks. What do you think? Am I right? The Hollywood foreign press is just dying to curry favor with Mark, haha. They're after that billionaire's money, Ricky said with a laugh. Lucas let out a soft laugh in response. Just then, the narrator's voice filled the room, welcome back to the 68th Golden Globe Awards, and now let's welcome. At that cue, a staff member gestured to Lucas. Ricky gave him a supportive pat on the back, saying, go on. Lucas adjusted his suit and made his way to the stage as the narrator introduced him, the star of the film Inception, Lucas Knight. The crowd erupted in applause as Lucas stepped into the spotlight. He cleared his throat and began his speech. Good evening, everyone. It's truly an honor to stand before you tonight, not only as a nominee but also to present Inception, a film that has touched audiences worldwide. Inception is more than just a movie, it's an exploration of the mind that challenges our perceptions of reality, and I'm proud to be a part of this remarkable journey. My profound experience on this film owes much to our brilliant director, Christopher Nolan. The crowd erupted in applause when Lucas mentioned brilliant director, and the camera panned to Nolan in the audience, capturing his appreciative smile. That's right, he is the best director for me, Lucas continued, emphasizing best director with a knowing tone that resonated with the audience, sparking laughter and nods of agreement from those who caught the implied message. Lucas then added, his vision and dedication transformed this extraordinary project into a monumental success, approaching $1 billion at the box office. Thank you, Chris, for your incredible craftsmanship and for pushing us all to excel. Thank you. As Lucas concluded, the screen behind him lit up with clips from Inception, highlighting his character, Arthur, prominently. The audience continued to applauding for both the film and Nolan's directorial prowess. After Lucas's presentation, the Golden Globe ceremony continued. The evening progressed to one of the night's most anticipated categories, Best Motion Picture, Drama. The award went to The Social Network, which edged out competitors including Inception, The Fighter, The King's Speech, and Black Swan. Soon after, the nominees for Best Performance in a Motion Picture, Drama were announced. Lucas Knight, one of the hopefuls, watched as the award was presented to Colin Firth for his role in The King's Speech. Lucas, though visibly disappointed, joined in the applause. Despite being nominated across 3 different categories, including a double nomination in Best Original Song, he hadn't secured a single award that evening. His frustration was palpable, yet he maintained his composure, reflecting both the highs and lows of the night.
Thanks for listening.